it's not like a consistent thing, but I mean, no one plays good in every match, but I mean, the high pressure scenarios, like it gets to people, and I think a lot of what happened, what you saw with the first iteration and the second iteration of the roster is like at times like those pretty stressful moments, like it got to people, and to like say it's always me is just criminally wrong. They kind of came up collectively that he like OG kind of wasn't good for the team, like as like a teammate. Not like I really don't think it had anything to do with skill at that point. So
you think he was a negative cultural influence?
That's not what I think. I think that's what they think. I don't know. Like I think Cass was great, but we were like a player-led team, but no one really led on like as a player. Like it was kind of Sam who kind of did that, and then Sam got dropped. So like we were so gassed up in the head. Like bro, teams started to pay us to scrim them.
You remember that? I remember Seffi was paying you.
At one point, there was a bidding war between Glads and Atlanta who could pay us more to scrim them.
What was he doing to you? What made this the case? You know, why did you want to kill Gunba mid-season? What was he doing to you, poor guys?
What didn't he do? Let's talk about it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 12 of Uncoachable. We've got a bit of a reputation on this podcast for getting people on, encouraging them to burn bridges and just set fire to their personal relationships. But today, our guest actually brings us something different. They're a step ahead of us. Normally, we set people up to burn bridges and then we just release them into the wild to deal with all their own consequences. Our guest today did his own bridge burning stream, burnt it with Haddy, Birdring, Gunba, any poor American player stupid enough to join mid-season on 50k. So what we get to do today is we actually get to see the aftermath of bridge burning. So with that, I'd like to welcome our guest for today, Hydron. And we can maybe start right there with, did you get any fallout from the bridge burning stream? Did you get any self-conscious DMs afterwards, a little bit upset?
No, if anything, I got the opposite. I got more encouragement to burn further bridges. Nah, nothing happened. Honestly, I think Overwatch League's dead. No one cares. Yeah, that'll be it. I mean, I got a reply from Gunba on Reddit, so that was nice.
Yeah, quite a few actually.
Yeah, Gunba, he wrote like a whole little essay about what you said. Pretty much, he had a lot to say about you.
Yeah. So that was cute. Anybody else? Nah, there was no one else really cared.
On your stream, you said you didn't watch the podcast, but just between us, that's bullshit, right? Like everyone's watching this shit. Like you got everything. We're on this for sure, right? Like you can tell us.
I'll keep it a buck with you. I maybe watched half an episode.
Was it good?
It was the Gunba episode, so not really.
I see.
Not really. that was some of our final work, I'd say.
Yeah.
You got to get to the quiz part. That's usually what people sit down and watch quietly.
Everyone fucking loves the quiz.
So, do you really think that all the bridge burning, it didn't impact you at all? You know, like you didn't have anyone message you saying "fuck you" instead of thanks.
No, I really don't think anyone cares. And not only do I think like anybody I talked about cared, I honestly could care less. Like I don't give a fuck. Like the league is dead.
Okay. So even if you did burn bridges and they did hate you for it, you would actually you'd be happy with that outcome.
I mean, not happy, but like I could care less. Like it doesn't really bother me.
Yeah, I felt the people that you burn the bridges with were never like the people that were going to be in your DMs, like forming a new team anyway. You know, like half of them were fucking Korean, so who cares? Like you're never going to presumably be on a team with them again. You're never going to be with Haddy, I'm guessing. So fuck it.
I mean, I'm never gonna be on a team with Birdring, so like, who gives a fuck? Yeah,
I'd be up nights having a bridge burned with Birdring personally, but
That can maybe bring us on because we want to start this show a little bit with some of the current news, and I think we can maybe start with the new Toronto team because maybe you didn't burn any bridges, but the rumor on the street is you're not on the new Toronto team.
I'm not. I can break that news to you guys live and direct. I'm not on Toronto.
The Toronto one was interesting because I heard rumors of like every single like basically, if you're an Overwatch League MVP, someone was telling me that they were signed to Toronto, but it feels like, I don't know, the one that one of these leaker people leaked seems to have more legs, because all of the guys that she said were on the team announced that they were leaving their like contenders team today, right? Like Timeless, they all left. So maybe it's actually happening. It's kind of interesting, right? Like, I guess the one thing that we all assumed was that the first org getting into Overwatch would be fucking Toronto, because Adam absolutely loves Overwatch with like an extreme passion. But it seems like he's gone pretty deep with like really maximize the import slot. I think that team looks pretty good, and I have to say that they're probably going to win NA already.
I'd hope they do.
I mean, do you think Casares has the hardest job in Overwatch right now? Because I do feel like, you know, picking who to import, it's just fucking borderline impossible to sift through and
it might
figure
be
out
easy
who's.
pickings.
Yeah, I mean,
Like he might have the easiest job on God's green earth right now.
He did put in the work making those fun off-season coaching documents, though. So you know he's got something to show for it.
Actually, fucked up though. He snaked all of you guys. No, like all of the boys from last season. Not one of them back along with Casaurus's wild ride.
I mean that's on him. I mean I don't think he snaked us. I mean we didn't really make playoffs, so you can't really blame the guy.
Oh, okay, keeping that bridge nice and.
I reopen that one.
No.
Supporting beams.
I mean, I only burn bridges with people I don't care about. Like I had nothing bad to say about any of my teammates. Like you have to be like an extreme asshole.
That's true.
Or I mean, okay, because like on my league stream, it was like asking like who I thought was good, and I said Birdring. I don't think Birdring is good, and then so people started like tweaking. And then, yeah, that's
I mean, I gotta ask about that though. Like, are you fucking crazy? Like, you fucking stupid. Like, how can you not think Birdring's good? You know, like that guy he's like 40 years old and he was still like top 3 somewhere in the league. You know, like how can that guy be bad?
I would load it into a lobby with him in a scrim in a match, and he fucking sucked. So that's why.
You win any matches versus that guy throughout the year? Like,
no, just the pro am.
Okay. It comes from a position of confidence when you tell me about how the players suck, but you know, like I just struggle to believe it sometimes.
I mean, it's all good. I mean, everyone has their opinion, but
you're allowed to be wrong. It's okay.
Well, that's all good. I don't give a fuck though.
But you also said you don't want to burn bridges with people that you think might be important in the future. So do you think that maybe for you maybe if you're angling more towards like content creation and stuff like that, you could wind up in the canon segregation lab or whatever they call it over in the Toronto Defiant, making content with the boys. You've got the Toronto imports, you've got your timeless players, and then there's you in the room across making content.
Yeah, I'm only a little 8-hour drive, so why not?
Oh, okay. So, and you're a local too. There's a lot of benefits here. Okay, I hope Casares still watches the podcast because I feel
I'm sure he does.
Big opportunity for his organization.
When he's not taking notes, but the docs, I'm sure he's got his on in the background.
Could be a little ASMR thing for him.
Could be. What do you guys think of the roster then? Like, if you had 2 import slots, when we did like the Saudi stuff. And every team had like 2 import slots. So it would be like a bunch of like Saudi players and then like 2 Overwatch League fucking like superstar Koreans. I feel like that's what NA is maybe turning into. Maybe the prediction we had last week about there being no imports has already aged quite poorly, as we already have 2. And I'll say that at least from what my birds have been telling me is that NA seems to be kind of running wild a little bit with rumors at least of like different orgs getting involved. It feels like from what I've heard so far is there's quite a few NA orgs getting involved, and then the Saudi orgs that maybe normally only compete in Saudi E-leagues are actually starting to like actually sign like real competitive teams now. So it actually feels like maybe EU will be funded by the Saudi organizations, and then NA, as NA always fucking does, is just going to have all of the money for whatever fucking reason. So what you might start to see is these NA orgs with like 3 American players and then fucking Proper and Lip as their teammates, because my assumption somewhere is that the Korean orgs are going to pay piss low, as the kids say.
I'm not sure that's the right use of Pisslow, to be perfectly honest with you. But look, I think the sentiment is still kind of there. Wait, when you were in Contenders back when Jesus was a boy, did you play on like one of those mixed teams, or did you just have like all American greatness when you were playing in Contenders as a kid?
No, my first Contenders team was like with a bunch of like EUs, like Milky Man, Chow, Awkward, like,
Right.
some
that's a
old
team.
school. So if you count that as like a mixed team, then sure.
That was pretty mixed, yeah.
Well, actually, Gunba was saying something about you and Andrew Tate, and oh no, it's awkward. He's like the guy, right? Like he tweets like perma Andrew Tate stuff. No,
Yeah.
Okay. So like a young formative influence for Hydron, maybe.
That's where it all started.
Crazy. You know what's so crazy about that reply is I think from A to Z it was all the lie. Like from the first letter to the last letter, it was a complete lie. Like it was incredible what he did it.
But I've never seen someone respect women more than Hydron personally, just from my experiences at the events. So you never really know. But so when you were playing, you had like Europeans, but did you have any of these like Korean players on any of your teams? Like I remember Sky Foxes, it was like a couple of talented Koreans playing with Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck. Like, did you ever play on one of those teams or?
I played with Vigilante on Triumph towards the end of my stunts.
I was probably like 13 years old then.
Yeah, we were both like 15, 16. So we played together for a couple months. I think I did. I mean, I had like Ju Young, which is like a coach on Sky Foxes. But on Sky Foxes, not really players that were Koreans. It was more like asking, valid,
Yeah, because I am wondering like if the new environment in NA is going to start to look like the old NA Contenders again, where you've just got like these random really good Korean players playing in the region with random shit American players,
that's
like
15-year-old
Hydron.
It was. I think I sent it to you, Max, and we won't leak the rumors. But one of the rosters I saw was just so fucking rancid in terms of like
balance.
Even if you were taking like the top 20 NA players, these guys weren't on it. And then it's also like, oh yeah, these two like fucking like checkmate and proper, or like those tier players, and it's like fucking hell, like. It's actually unbelievable if those teams kind of form. But don't you think that realistically, maybe I'm naive, but if you're going to sign Koreans, you have to do a team house? Because Toronto's obviously going to do a team house, right? They probably already have like the Bell Mansion somewhere with like the segregation chamber if required, and they probably have it all sorted. But like, if you're one of these maybe smaller orgs, if you get Koreans, do you not need a team house? Or okay, here's the real question. A team of like tier 2, tier 1 NA players all on low ping versus a mixed roster with 2 superstar Koreans on high ping. What's actually going to win?
Kind of depends, I think, on like, I don't know, because it's a little weird though, because I don't know how these matches kind of get set up. Like, is there minimum latency? But I still think the 2 Koreans like on 180 is definitely going to beat like, I don't know, like literally anybody. I think NA is only capped to like 3 good rosters that are like,
yeah, I think
like,
even that's a stretch.
Like possible.
Yeah.
Do you think with imports they could like edge up to a 3rd good roster, or is it really like already stretching pretty thin?
3rd good roster with imports.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like 3 NAs and 2 Koreans on both teams, all 3 teams.
Because the best way in reality is to like reverse engineer it. So you start with the Americans, you get the best Americans you can, and then there'll always be a good Korean to import for the other role. Like bringing in someone seems like an obvious choice, because tank especially probably seems like the weakest role in NA. Because if you don't get Collegiate, or I guess Collegiate and Hawk, right, and then it's like super slim afterwards. But I think you can probably make an argument to get like someone or Smurf or someone like this in is like a big upgrade on any American tank going.
Yeah, it feels like, I guess flex support is the one role that NA always seems to have the best players at, right? Like I think Ultraviolet, RuPaul, Land, and CJ is actually pretty solid, I think, the 4 of them. So you probably try to secure one of them if you're being really serious. And then, I don't know, apart from that, I feel like the roster that Toronto have been quoted as looks really fucking competitive. Like that would be a really fine Overwatch League roster for sure. Because also Merit and someone presumably have enough English skills after playing with Florida. I think that once you start to like, I don't know, I've spoke to Lip a little bit, but I don't get the impression he speaks English. So if a team then tries to sign Lip and then pairs him with like Cowman, then maybe all of a sudden that like there is like you could really run into issues where it doesn't work as much as you hope. But I feel like exactly what Max said, where you might start to see like every NA team has like 1 or 2 Korean players on it, even if some of them are playing from Ping, might be the way that it goes.
I'm curious to see how many like Koreans retire that have been in the league
All
for
of
such a
them.
long time.
Well, yeah, I feel like it ultimately depends. Like, I don't know, like, is T1? I guess T1 is like the biggest Korean team, but I think a lot of it also will revolve around the Saudi World Cup, which maybe we can talk about at some point. But I don't know how many. I always feel like the way esports has always gone is just fucking NA teams have money to burn, and then Korean orgs don't really kind of dip in as much.
It maybe depends how many of the Koreans would actually rather just be on like a better all-Korean team and get paid less, or take the import spot, be on a potentially worse team but get a fatter paycheck.
Well, I don't know. I feel like presumably, at least from our perspective too, like at some point the paycheck has to come first, because especially if it's like the paycheck is like actually zero for some of these Korean orgs, then I can't imagine you'd feel happier being unemployed but playing with your boys for Overwatch all day, rather than sucking it up and getting paid.
Also, some Koreans might not want to either like play on the Ping or play on the NA schedule. They're not going to live there. But some Koreans like want to come and play in NA. So depends.
I mean, I think if you offered any Korean player and you said, here's the same salary, but you're playing on a full Korean roster in Korea, every single Korean player takes that without a shadow of a doubt. There's not a single one who prefers to come to America. But I guess the reality is probably either do you want to come live in Saudi, or do you want to come live in NA and get paid, or do you want to stay in Korea and not get paid?
I mean, do you think there's actually going to be enough international jobs to sustain like a real big Korean scene at that point, though? Because I really don't think it's going to be a big thing for them. I think that like every Korean that can go overseas will go overseas, but at the same time, it's still not going to be enough. It's just going to be too small, and there's going to be like a minority. I think the vast majority will have to retire or go back to living in their like horrific condition kind of gaming houses.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, we said this before that like the players that would be affected the most are like the tier, like I guess the equivalent of tier 2 Korea, which is probably like tier 1, the rest of us. Those players just are absolutely fucked by this new system, especially if there's only 2 spots available at the lands and stuff. That you'll probably see a few more LFT tweets from OGE just in case. Like you never know, that maybe just one team that's just refreshing Twitter. But I think for the most of them, I think it looks game over, really.
If someone burns an import spot on OGE, fuck me.
If someone burns any spot on OGE, I'm fucking.
That's another thing. Why is there only 2 import spots? Like, how boring is that?
Yeah, I mean, presumably, from what I'm guessing.
I mean, no, wait. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say 2 import spots. I meant the 2 spots to make it to the 2 spots to make it to the lands.
I think just it's more expensive to fly Korean teams over and get Korean players visas, I guess. I don't know. I can't see any other logical reason for that. I suppose maybe there's an argument that if you had to shaft NA or EU and give only one of them 2 slots, then you're going to start some sort of like World War III. So maybe just give them both and then just fuck the Koreans as always, and then maybe everyone's happy.
Like the easiest way to do it would it be if you gave like all 3 regions 4 spots each, and you could still make like a reasonable bracket.
But my assumption is Blizzard pays for travel. That's what I'm guessing, right? That like if you qualify for one of these majors, that Blizzard is going to pay for it, because I imagine at some point we will see an unsponsored team qualify for a major. I feel like that seems like it'll happen at some point over the next 2 years. And my guess is you're not going to ask players who are unsponsored to pay for their own travel to go to fucking Dallas. So if Blizzard are paying for it, then they're never going to do 12 teams, I guess. Maybe it's like Face It. I don't know. Like I really don't know who puts up the prize pool, if it comes from Blizzard or if it comes from Face It. My feeling is like Blizzard will do it and Face It will just like run the tournaments. But it'd be lovely if we had some sort of information around prize pools.
Welcome to a new segment called The Uncoachable Guys Pay for Their Holiday Home. As you all know, there's a cost of living crisis, and it's getting harder and harder for all of us to afford our holiday home out in the Bahamas. So we're asking you guys if you can support us on Patreon just to help us out, because the mortgage is starting to get away from us a bit. We're trying to reduce the payments, but any money you can spare to help us keep hold of our holiday home, it'd be greatly appreciated.
I'm a 26-year-old man, unemployed, living with his mother. So if you give money, then maybe I'll move out or something instead. I'm not funding a holiday home here. This is purely to
literally
get out.
Charity at this stage.
Yeah, nah.
There's actually real charities you could donate to, which has less of an impact on the poor than helping Unter get out of his mother's house. So
that being said, I'm told. Someone tells me that there are some vague benefits that you can receive for giving money to our Patreon. Maybe the show host can rattle off some of those now.
You get an exclusive Q&A. You get access to extended previews. You get access to Discord channels where you can talk to us if you want to talk to us, and we'll even respond to you.
Sometimes, yeah, it's pretty good actually.
Yeah,
definitely better than donating to charity, I would argue.
I think
surely.
One of the big things I have with charity as a concept is when you give to some of these bigger charities, they're trying to help too many people and the money gets spread out too thin. There's only 3 of us, so your pennies, your dollars, they actually go further giving to us rather than to charities.
True.
So keep that in mind when choosing how to donate your money, and hopefully consider us, and maybe one day we can get Max a place of his own. Do we want to talk about the potential leaked patch changes from our good friend, our man on the other side, RuPaul, who got it all to us at the cost of his own freedom?
Did you guys read them?
They're terrible.
Yeah, I mean, they're just adding health to every hero in the game. They're making all the projectiles really fat so that, fucking Mickey Mouse can play the game with his eyes closed. Like, I don't know. I really don't understand the rationale behind what they're doing there. Like, the game's had the same rough level of skill expression since release. They haven't massively overhauled every fucking bullet size so that everything is easy for everyone. And now they're just going the route of, let's make everything really easy for everyone. Every shot can be hit by the gold player now, which I really don't understand. I feel like some heroes will just randomly appear super fucking broken.
Yeah,
if it becomes easier to hit the shots. Like, you won't realize how heavily you were reliant on the skill expression component of it. So I feel like they'll just fuck it up that way. But I just don't really understand the direction, like why do they want to buff the health pool of every single hero in the game and make every single shot easier, as if people haven't been getting better at hitting those shots for the past 7-8 years.
Yeah, it's like an extreme casual change. Like you make the hitbox bigger with the bullets, and then you just live longer for absolutely no reason. Like, characters didn't live long enough now, and then you nerf the healing slightly. But why does Bastion have 300 HP? Or May have 300?
Well, I think what's interesting is if you consider it, Hanzo and Sojourn can't one-shot anyone anymore, right? Because their damage didn't get increased. So I'm pretty sure the only one-shot hero in the game is maybe Widow and Rhinepin or something. I mean, I could be wrong, but at least from what I saw from the stream and stuff. So yeah, I don't know. It feels like, you remember when 9K was on and he said that actually, I'm sure it was fucking Sam he was complaining about. Sam's like, oh, one shot should not be in the game. One shot should not be in the game. Feels like maybe that's actually what they're doing, where they decided that one shot was unfun. Because I'm sure I'm right there that Sojourn's damage didn't go up, or at least not meaningfully. So she's gonna shoot someone and they're going to be on 60 HP if she headshots them now, right? So then they're going to be nowhere near dead. I don't know. It feels like the direction they went is one where maybe they just said that team play and ranked is so fucking bad that actually just make everyone more independent, makes it more fun. I guess more similar to Quake.
Doesn't it make everyone not more independent because it's so much harder to kill people now, right? If everyone's got more health and...
Yeah, I don't know.
If everything's buffed the other way. My impression is this actually makes everything just a bit slower.
Yeah, I actually don't know. Every single time there's been one of these big changes, I remember when Overwatch 2 came out, I was so convinced Lucio was fucking dead as a hero because I felt would I have one less tank to go around? I thought, rank comps are fucking terrible, blah, blah, blah. And then here I am making my living off the fucking rank comps in Overwatch 2. I feel like a lot of times no one has a fucking clue what it's going to do, especially at the professional level. My feeling is that like the heroes like maybe Cassidy and Soldier and like maybe those more consistent damage heroes are the ones that are like really, really strong now, whereas Overwatch has kind of been the ability to one-shot headshot someone at the highest level has always just been, that's why Sojourn's just been OP ever since she was released. That maybe that's like a change in the meta. Maybe like Reinhardt is actually really fucking strong because he can still one-shot and he doesn't get affected by the healing thing because he can shield all the damage. I don't know. It does seem really fun. It's actually, it's the biggest patch in Overwatch history, right? Apart from the patch that took Overwatch 1 to Overwatch 2. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a patch as big as this.
Yeah. I do think, like, in terms of the way that they choose to develop this game, I really wish that they did it differently. No. Like, in terms of how they roll out these patches, you know, like a while back they had this like experimental card stuff, and you know they did this like quicker play weird shit recently out of nowhere. But then they also have like these big sweeping changes where it's like it seems like this is definitely going to happen, right? This isn't like an experiment; they're just fucking doing it without really announcing it. It seems like these are the actual patch notes, right? But I don't understand if they're gonna have a big change like this, like why wouldn't they put this on the experimental card or the PTR or whatever the equivalent is, and let people fucking give it a go for a couple of weeks and see how it feels in the hands? Because I feel like if you put this on the experimental card, absolutely everyone would play and give feedback on it, you know, because it's such a massive change. It's not just like a tweak to respawn timers. It's such like a fundamental change to how everything plays. But I feel like they're just gonna ship it and be like, fuck it, why not? You know, have a crack. But the only people that have tested this out are people that are like diamond and below, because there isn't a single Blizzard employee that's good at their actual game, you know?
Well, they all got fired.
Well, you thought that before 1,900 people got fired, there was someone that could get above diamond? Like,
maybe they fired them all when they're going to hire people with higher SR so they can test these changes.
Hawk's finally getting that job, you know? Like, it's finally time.
Well, the problem with stuff like this is that there's just so many changes, it's just impossible to have any read on what will happen. Like, it's so hard to interpret without actually playing that, without anyone getting a chance to properly play it. It's just like a huge change in some direction that nobody really knows or understands.
Not only is it that... Oh, sorry.
No, you go.
Not only is it that, I think the patch drops about like 2-3 weeks off like the first couple matches.
Yeah.
Which is insanity. So yeah.
No, I think you're right. I guess one thing that maybe people have complained about in history is that Overwatch has maybe over time become more and more balanced for like the middle of the bell curve, like where most players are, not for like the extreme end, which like as professionals, I guess we kind of want. And I guess I don't know if there's an argument somewhere that gold players and plat players are going to find this game way more enjoyable or way more dopamine hitting because all of a sudden, like Max said, they're fucking hitting their shots. And maybe there's like an argument that actually the general reception to this patch, especially like at the lower levels, is really, really high. But I don't know. I feel like it's one of those where if the hitbox changes are actually like you can just like feel them immediately, it changes absolutely fucking everything about the game. Like if like the difference between lip and like the next best hit scan was actually so significant just because of the skill expression on like Sojourn, you know, and even at the highest level, when you take the top 10 hit scan players in the world, the difference between 1 and 10 is really, really, really significant in terms of their raw aim. It's possible that anyone can hit headshots now, which I think maybe turns it more into a MOBA. Maybe means that like the London style of play where it's like more around like team playing coordination and just fucking grouping up and doing the right things becomes even better. So maybe that's good for me in some way. I'm one of these people I've said on this podcast before, I hate when people just like assume that the patch is fucking bad before they've played it, but even I'm like slightly doomerish on it in terms of it does feel like it's a massive change and maybe not in the direction that like pros would want.
What I don't get is why they've like, I mean, they've made it pretty obvious that they base the game off casuals and not pros. So, but I'm curious as to why like that's their model, because I feel like patch notes and like meta changes all kind of rely on pro play. Like people start playing new stuff in rank because they see it, or they used to see it in OWL. Or as to why, like I feel like if you're diamond and below, there is no meta. Like it doesn't matter what you play, what just got nerfed, what just got buffed. Everybody sucks. You know what I mean? Like there is no meta, and there's like the patch notes hardly affect unless it's like manga coming out.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I feel like I'm actually not against these changes, even though like there's a reasonable chance that it completely like fucks up the flow of the game as people know it right now. But I do think that like there's nothing wrong with trying to like appeal to a larger player base and like get more people to play the game. And I think the whole idea that like they should balance around the pros, I think it's like true for sure. But at the same time, it actually doesn't fucking matter because no matter how you balance the game, the pros are still going to keep fucking playing. So as long as the product isn't incredibly boring to watch at the end of the day, because they're all doing the same thing, like playing goats for a year or whatever, then it's actually fine. I remember like the reason that I liked Overwatch at the start was because it was like I'm shit at first person shooter games, you know, like I can't fucking aim, but I could boot into Overwatch and play some like low skill expression hero like Lucio and still win, you know. So if they push the game like further in that direction, where people that have completely fucking worthless hands can play the game, maybe like it just rewards other skill sets, you know, like it doesn't actually make the game, it doesn't make the game shit. It just rewards people for different things, you know, like it means that, you know, the game becomes more positionally intensive, more about how you're using your cooldowns and stuff like that, you know. Obviously that all of these things already matter, but if the skill expression is lower for mechanics, then, you know, like it has to push it up somewhere else, you know. It's not like everything becomes wholesale easier. So I don't think it's necessarily bad to do this stuff. I just think the way that they implement it is absolutely fucking criminal, where it's like they don't even let people try it. And you know, the only way that you're ever going to see it is under an NDA to the content creators.
Well, I'm sure if they released it as like an experimental patch and they said, we're considering doing this for season 9, play it and let us know what you think, they'd get such a large amount of input from people from all levels of skill and everything.
Yeah, but then they do that with quicker play and everyone just has cancer instantly. They're like, oh my God, these devs are so stupid. How could they fucking do this? They're making our game deathmatch. No, cry. You know, like every pro is just crying about quicker play. It's like, it's on the fucking experimental card. Who gives a shit, dude? Like, you know what I mean? Like they can't win no matter what they do. Because everyone just wants to cry. You know, if they put the patch out fast, they're crying. If they put it on experimental card, they're crying. If they give it to the content creators, they're crying. You know, like people just cry a lot with relation to pro games.
I mean, what one thing that I did consider was that like I wonder if like I don't know if you guys have felt this too. I don't really follow like too many like of the content creators, but I feel like every time there is a patch that I see like videos of fucking Spilo or Flats, whatever, and like Stylosa, and they're like, this patch is shit. Like it doesn't fix the game. Like I see, yeah, they do a little bit of pogging, but it's like a negative pog, right? Like I don't know what the opposite of a good pog is. But I felt like if you like release every patch possible and everyone just says, oh, you don't know how to balance the game, it's shit, blah, 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 blah. At some point, maybe like they think, oh, fuck, well, we need to like revolutionize this. And I wonder if there's an element of like everything's been so fucking negative from everyone about every single patch that's ever happened and every single new hero that they've kind of like, the devs are like, well, I don't know how to fucking please these people. So let's just fucking change the game and see if that's what they dislike, you know?
Is there like, what's the precedent in other games? Like say for something like League of Legends, right, which also goes through like patches that will regularly change the course of what's getting picked and banned. And
what League is really, really good at is they have like a season, right? And their season goes for I think like 10 months, and then they have a 2-month preseason, and that's when they throw all of their big experimental patches into the preseason. And you know that's when they do their jungle changes or they do this, blah 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 blah. So they have a system where during the 10 months, it's just like heroes get added or like numbers get changed, and then whenever it's like something like revolutionary, like I know they added different fucking like dragons and shit, right? That was always done in the preseason, so everyone had 2 months to play it, and then they would give feedback, blah 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 blah. That obviously feels like better, but I don't feel like Overwatch. I don't know how Overwatch would do it. You'd give like a week between each season where it's preseason and nothing matters. I think everyone would fucking complain about that for sure. So I don't know. I feel like maybe the only way to do it is the like what Max said, where you just stick it on quick play or something and see how people feel.
I mean, I think before, like in Overwatch 1, there was not like a preseason, but there was a break between each season. I feel like that's probably doable in Overwatch, like a week-long hiatus from like season, what is it, 9 to 10? And you just shit on changes. Like, I think that could work.
Yeah.
But I also feel like as much as people do cry and bitch about it, I do think some of it is merited because of kind of the past that's happened, but I do think it's a lot of it's overbearing, like it's too much. So I see the devs on that, but they're not all innocent.
Yeah, I mean, of course you're defending the crying because you're both American and a pro player, so you're the ultimate final boss of crying in Overwatch. But yeah, I mean, the devs are just like endlessly doing criminal shit with this game. I feel like 100% of the patches suck, you know, like from the pro POV. It's actually incredibly hard to find a hit of a patch where it's like, oh yeah, they saw the issue and they fixed it. But at the same time, you know, I can't take your sentiments too seriously when you're the
What are
final
you
boss.
saying, bro? I
What do
don't
you mean,
complain at
bro?
all. I
You
literally
don't complain at all?
No, I don't.
He just rolls with the punches. This guy's fucking Muhammad Ali on the ropes. Just
I
takes it.
literally never typed in that out on Discord, like not once ever.
I think he's actually telling the truth, no? Like,
Hey, that could
I
actually be
think
true.
Hydron was never.
There might be
Your
some people in
friends.
the room typing.
Yeah, you need to stop associating with those gentlemen, you know?
I'm feeling racially stereotyped at the moment.
Racially stereotype, the American phenotype right here. Like, unbelievable. Getting you mixed up with Frill Schizo posting for years.
Yeah, that's your player.
Yeah, that's my fault. Is that like that's my doing? You
It
think?
was him,
Take the
Hawk,
keyboard away from him.
Sam.
Sam.
I'm sure
Speed.
Collegiate would throw some shit in there too from time to time, though.
I don't think I ever saw Kaluj
I think
say
Like
anything,
Kaluj
bro.
just trolls. Kaluj doesn't say anything serious.
I think Majid would. I feel like Majid would just like, especially when the Alari stuff happened. I feel like I just
Yeah, all of you guys are fucking
every
crying,
5
like,
minutes there was a GIF from Majid in the
that's
Discord.
insane.
Magic couldn't form sentences, but he could do gifs every now and then. That was about as close as he was getting to pro feedback.
It was probably all the way back. Do you remember like mid-season 2022, the Hawaii patch? Was that the last time it was like, it felt like a variety of stuff was genuinely viable?
I think earlier this season, like towards the Pro Am, kind of before the Somber Tracer, I feel like there was a lot of stuff being played. Like a lot of teams had a different, like a bunch of styles. Like Florida had like a counter pick style, while Houston had like a really like they were counter pick, but they were really like pokey. Like they would always like sit and spawn, see what you were playing, swap to like Ana Zen, or like there's a lot of comps like Ram comps. There was like the Ram Rush. Then there was
That's
like
true.
some teams were playing Monkey. You guys were playing Ryan in London, so actually, were you? I don't think you were.
I mean,
I think
we
at the start
tried.
we were doing it in like a couple of places, but we were trying to spread our wings and play other comps, which
Yeah, I think you guys were
was a
like
fool's
perma
errand.
playing like Tracer and shit.
yeah,
Yep.
the good old days.
the 2 and 8 days. Do we want to move on to Overwatch League then and reflect on times of the past, good and bad? I feel like the elephant in the room to start with, maybe Hydron, is the word that comes up the most with Toronto, and that's the word choking, and whether you guys were choking, who was responsible. I guess maybe the fairest person to start with is, did you feel you were a guilty party in terms of like underperforming in matches?
I wouldn't say like it's not like a consistent thing, but I mean, no one plays good in every match, but I mean the high pressure scenarios like it gets to people, and I think a lot of what happened with what you saw with the first iteration and the second iteration of the roster is like at times like those pretty stressful moments like it got to people, and to like say it's always me is just criminally wrong.
Are you ever people, or are you not one of those people?
Of course, bro. What?
Okay, so you're one of those people. Okay.
I mean, everyone had their moments. Every single player had their moments, and that kind of inevitably happens, like as a player.
Do you think everyone on the team suffered from that? Was there anyone that was like iron mental, unaffected by the high pressure situations? Because I felt like, you know, with the teams that I've been on before, like there were definitely people that I would never doubt them in like a high pressure match, you know? But is this the American tornado curse? Like every now and then you just piss your pants?
No, because it happened on the half Korean roster, and it wasn't the Americans.
Geez.
Like,
it wasn't the Americans.
No. I'm not saying that like
it was those other people.
We didn't choke at all. I'm just saying like Koreans can choke too. Like it's possible.
Yeah, all right. So you saw little fucking opener fucking in the back.
Yeah, when he bashes off the well, Matt 5.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. You only had one Korean when you actually lost out at playoffs, though, right? Wasn't that just Spectre in? And then it was like an all-American dream team plus Majid.
Jeez.
Do you think? Because I guess a lot of people probably have in mind, like from some of the behind the scenes videos you did, and you guys talking quite openly about it. Do you think, in hindsight, that maybe talking about the idea of we're choking or we're like underperforming here? Do you think it possibly made it worse in hindsight, like speaking it into existence?
I think it kind of like was kind of like a cop out for a lot of the times, like to say we choke here, we choke there, but like if you kind of at the time looked at the big picture, like we just played like shit, or like our strat is wrong, or like something was off. It's not because somebody choked at this moment that we lost the entire game. Like the game is the match is at least 3 maps wrong. So I wouldn't say it was like that was like a thing we did always was just choke. I think we did use it a lot as a cop out. Oh, this person choked, so that's why we lost.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I don't know, like, did Toronto actually choke play-ins this season? Like, do you think that you guys choked it? Like, Boston map 5, maybe? Like, I feel like there was, like, in my head, there was map choice problems, and then against us, I feel like it was like a comp problem that more than anything. I don't know. I don't think you guys did well against us, but I don't know, maybe I didn't think you guys were, like, shitting your brains out, you know?
Yeah, I think going to some of these matches, we kind of had like a lot of misconceptions. Like playing you guys before Boston, when we got knocked down to Boston, we were absolutely and utterly convinced that Alari map comp Bastion was just gonna like run you guys over because it happened in scrims. Like I don't know if you guys are having like a bad day, so we were like convinced that was gonna win, and as soon as it like didn't win, we had no backup plan. Like there was no plan B. We were just convinced it was gonna win, and we had no swaps plan. Like it was kind of a bigger issue than just choking.
Yeah. I felt like, the Boston game, I was like, I think you guys probably, because I heard you guys always beat Boston scrims, right? Is that true?
They're in the play-in meta, yeah.
Yeah. So I felt like that was one where it was like map 5, it was like so close. But yeah, I felt like in the end, it was like everyone was like, oh, Toronto would have done well at playoffs, and I think that's true. But I also don't think you guys were like so comfortably ahead of like us and Boston to the point where I was like, you guys fucking like choked to get knocked out, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of had like our kind of like London S towards like the play-in, like just kind of just playing one comp and like kind of like just really sticking to our guns and trying to figure out everything that works with the comp and trying to just kind of just like march it through every comp, even though it's probably not the best on every map, but you just kind of try and make it work. So we definitely attempted that, but I don't. In hindsight, I don't think that was the plan, or that's the way we should have done it.
Yeah, well, I felt like both of them actually just came down to like, because even when we scrimmed you guys, we actually struggled, I think, more. Like we had that one scrim where we lost to the May Bastion, but actually most of the scrims we didn't beat you when you were just playing like your normal double flex, like the soldier version.
Yeah, I mean, we were like absolutely and utterly convinced because of that one scrim. We were like, oh my god, we found the counter, because we weren't convinced that our first comp, like we felt like you guys had like play, like you could like there was like counterplay for you guys to play, like there was ways, because I think towards the end of it when I was like playing soldier and flanking and shit, like you guys, like you could tell like you guys were like hard VOD reviewing it, and we really felt like kind of going into that like if we played that like I don't know, we felt like there was probably a better comp to counter you guys since Bastion was so good.
That bloody sim TP whenever you're flanked.
So stupid. So stupid. Like pre-fired it sometimes.
That's the thing, man. Backers, he's always got his eye on the flank. He was ready for you, bro.
Yeah, he's got fucking, what is that called? POV? HOV?
FOV.
FOV. Yeah, he's got the most insane FOV of all time.
Do you look back more at the Boston one as maybe the misplay then? Like maybe that map 5 is like the specific one that again feels like a weird or like a choice to maybe regret in hindsight.
I mean, I don't know. Like I did feel like the map 5 in that specific series was, I feel like we started getting like pretty nervous. Like people started like kind of pissing our pants. Like I'm pretty like if you would like hear the comms, like people like became really uncertain of things that they should have been certain in, like kind of just like how the comp works, like we were like that comp, the queen comp doesn't beat like the double sniper, like in theory it shouldn't if you just play well and on that map. But yeah, then people started like doubting shit like that. So it kind of definitely, nerves kind of got to us.
Who was your speech maker on these teams? You know, say people are starting to get nervous. Like who's trying to calm the boys down, get everyone in line? Like, are you the speech man?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, no wonder you guys got fucking dumpstered. Like, jeez.
I'm the only one who's like I don't know. I mean, you're not gonna ask like a Korean to like make a big speech in English and like fucking rally the troops. And then you have me,
I'll do that.
and then like
realistic expectations.
UV and Colin are more like reserved, quiet people. So, and I'm the only outgoing, extroverted. So yeah, like who else is gonna do it?
Fair enough. Okay. And you just hope that they don't notice the fucking stream of piss going down your leg while you say it. I mean, I saw you shoot that deflect. You know, like that was money.
At least I got one though.
You got your one. At least you went with Jed, you know, just fucking walking up, slonking orbs at 90% on Trank. Oh, well.
Yeah. Do you think, because people often like call Reiner as maybe the person to like make the match winning call or rally the troops in game, do you think like it was a big miss not getting him at the start of the season?
Like definitely. I mean, like that's like I mean, he was what's it called, the Roll Star? But I mean, during our time in AT, like he called everything. Like he was like the so-called leader. Like he called, the plans and whatnot. So not to blame it on Kalush, but like he's more of a reserved and quiet person. Like he's not the leader type. He's more of like not to say a follower, but he's more of a follower in that sense. So yeah.
Sheep.
So yeah, I mean he was a big part of AT during the time for sure.
Do you think you guys would have like had a seriously deep finish if you had Frill?
I don't know. Like the meta was like Sombra Tracer the entire.
I mean, it's like you had a Winston meta. The Collegiate was honestly pretty, about as good as. I mean, Collegiate, Frill on Winston. I
mean, nothing to complain about, but like if the meta was Winston, Sombra, Honor Brig, and
and then the playoff meta, which you guys were good at the end. I feel like Reiner doesn't play that meta anyway, right? Like, is Reiner going to play Orisa over Kaluj and Sigma? No way, right? Like Kaluj was actually really fucking good at those heroes, so I feel like the Reiner stuff is cope, in my opinion.
Frill had heart,
I mean, it's not necessarily cope because of how he is outside of the game and how like brutally honest he is. And I think in the beginner, the first half of the season, people did need that. Like there was too like in reviews and like kind of hindsight conversation, there was too many cop outs, like too many. Oh, I just played this fight, my bad. Just go next map.
Can we maybe talk about this? Because I think one thing that I've heard before is that the American Tornado way of doing business, like you guys are fucking famous. Like whatever the fuck you guys say, you guys changed Overwatch. Like you left an impact on Overwatch. Everyone knows the 80 way. And can you talk about like how the day-to-day went? And then what I heard was like what 80 was like, what made you guys so good was you guys were so happy to just tell each other you think they played shit in the moment, and then each other could take it. And a lot of the way you guys did review was kind of just like toxic flaming, and then because you guys were so close that it didn't matter. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's like dead on. Like we were like everyone could give it and everyone could take it. But I also think like a big part of it was at the time we were just like a bunch of kids in high school and we just like had fun with the game. And so yeah, like we're like 16, 17, we're like scrimming people who get paid to play this game and we're beating them and we're just having a good time, just shit talking and having fun. So I think that was a big part of it as well.
So like in review, if someone just fucking had an absolute shit map, you guys would just all like fucking say, yeah, you played shit here.
I mean, fucking Hunter knows. Like Reiner, like that guy does not let anything fucking slide. Like that guy is.
Well, you say this right, but it was actually really different on Gladiators because usually, like, we would load into the scrims and Frill wouldn't be like in practice calling people out for playing shit. because Frill just wouldn't try and practice. So we actually had like a little bit of a different environment there. You know, it's like he stepped it up from playing with the American Tornado guys, where he can just pick them to pieces all the time, and instead he had to activate his like self-defense mechanism of like, oh god, what if I try and I make the mistake? I should just not try at all, so I can be like, I wasn't trying in the first place. You know?
Oh no, he did the same thing with us. Just never tried.
It's fucking unbelievable.
Cold shit.
He just tries the matches.
Yeah, he does, but he does kind of do both, you know. Like he'll finish it up and just start fucking spitting heat about how shit Patapan is, and it's like, man, you didn't try for 4 hours just now. Like, what's going on here? You know, make up your mind. Well, poor little fucking Patty's having a mental breakdance in the corner because he missed a heal for like 3 hours ago. Like, it's really difficult.
I want to ask this. So you say you could all give it and you could all take it, but if I put a lie detector to you right now, when each of us calling each other shit, you genuinely don't think it bothers people? Because I would literally, I'm too much of a pussy. It would fucking kill my confidence immediately. also knowing half of the guys on AT, like at least the stuff you have, I can't believe it didn't affect them. Like, do you honestly think it was the best way to approach, like, the way you guys, I guess, like, gave feedback?
I mean, if you think about it, like how are you guys like with your like best fucking friends? Like, you guys just flame each other, you know, just bust each other's balls. That's literally all it was. But I don't know if it's the best, but it was just kind of like the culture. Like, we were just like, at the end of the day, we were more than like, we were friends more than teammates. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like a super serious approach we were taking. We were just busting each other's balls off cooldown.
Did it never bother people? Like, you know, say it got a little more serious, you know, you got into the Overwatch League, you're 2 years into the Overwatch League, you're not just like fucking around in contenders, dominating everyone all the time, you know? Like, once losses started to become a key component of the American Tornado formula rather than just perma winning, did it become a problem then? Like, did you start not wanting your balls broken every night? I mean, me personally, I know what I want.
No, I mean, it's true. Like it only works if you're winning. Like, as soon as you start losing, and then I think eventually you kind of start believing it. Like, you're like, wait, maybe I am kind of. But I think that was like, I'm not gonna say that. I mean, that doesn't really happen to me because, like, I know, like, if Frill tells you anything, it's just shit. Like, Frill is just, you know, or that's just how it is. But I do think it, once we started losing, it did start creeping up on people.
And I mean, you're perfect, sweetie. Bird rings the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just kind of feel like, especially like say someone like OG, when he really starts to struggle and it like becomes clear to everyone that he's like not playing at the level that he's needed, and then you get into VOD review and he makes mistakes and everyone's like, yeah, what the fuck are you doing? I can't imagine that didn't just like turbo kill his confidence, even if he's got a smile. Oh, you guys fucking just the boys again. Like, inside he's fucking dying, you know?
Poor Christian.
Yeah. Oh. That did happen, but I mean,
it's okay. You replaced him with opener.
At that point, it was like when we were losing, like, the damage had already been done. Like, there really wasn't any coming back from it.
I'm kind of curious, actually, because you killed Christian for opener, right?
I did nothing.
No, Casaurus defends this to the ends of the earth. Is that some bullshit right now, or do you think that was a good move? Because I feel like Christian versus opener, like, no matter how bad his form was, like, I feel like no way OG was worse than opener at any point. Is that full fucking delusion? I'm kind of curious as to your take, because you were there, you know, on the ground floor.
I mean, okay, well, I'll be honest. I had absolutely no say. However, I don't think it had anything to do with skill. I think it was more like on Toronto. We had a performance coach named Martina, and she kind of like worked hand in hand with like the coaches, and so she was like really like hovering in like our like team environment, shit like that, and I think they kind of came up collectively that he, like, OG kind of wasn't good for the team, like, as like a teammate. Not like, I really don't think it had anything to do with skill at that point. So
you think he was a negative cultural influence?
That's not what I think. I think that's what they think.
That's what Martina thought.
Fucking Martina.
Exactly.
Casaurus didn't mention Martina's name once in his episode, so this is a bit of new shit coming to light right now. You know, like, Christian was actually killed by a performance coach called Martina, like, out of nowhere.
I mean, think about it, right? Like if somebody starts showing up to scrims like not in it, like you can just tell when somebody's like not in it and is like doesn't have it in them anymore. Then it's contagious. You know what I mean? Like
So he didn't have that dog in him, is what you're saying?
It's sticky. It's a sticky attitude.
Oh, so you actually think it was a good move?
I cannot confirm or deny. But
he just confirmed it. You know, like he tried to pin it on fucking Martino, but at the end of the day, like we're
no. I'm saying
you know?
he didn't get replaced because Opener was better than him. That's what I'm saying.
He got replaced because Opener was worse than him, but he wasn't toxic to the
He had
environment.
more dog in him.
Sure, man. Whatever you want to come up with.
Dog in Opener, you know, like.
Can I ask about how an AT VOD review looks like then? I mean, I guess this also maybe is like how a Casaurus VOD review looks like, but I feel like
Toronto?
we've had, well, yeah, or just like maybe like before Toronto and after, like during Toronto, because we've had coaches on, and some coaches like to do all the talking, some coaches like the players do all the talking, some coaches literally don't even just make a video so the players have literally 0 words to say without the feedback.
I like that last one actually. That's a good idea.
How did you guys do it?
Well, pre-Toronto, there was no such thing as VOD review. Never happened.
Okay.
We never VOD reviewed, and we only scrimmed once a day. We just played ranked with each other. On Toronto, I mean, Cass is more of like a not like a player-led coach, but he likes to like have his players kind of lead the VOD reviews and whatnot. So that's how we did it for the first half. But the problem was, I mean, I was also a part of the problem. Like, not that people were taking it like seriously, but like putting in kind of like the extra hours, like this sitting behind after scrims, watching your own POV, that type of stuff that we felt like people weren't contributing as much to. But I don't know. Like I think Cass was great, but we were like a player-led team, but no one really led on like as a player. Like it was kind of Sam who kind of did that, and then Sam got dropped.
So there was one leadership figure, and immediately you had to kill him.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
And to be honest,
Cass.
we got miles better when we did it, though, right? Let's not rewrite history here. Whatever you say about the changes, you guys were so much better in the second half than the first half.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, good job, Cass.
I mean, don't you think that was just like they would have been totally fine with their original core in that change? Because I think I think there's like crazy revisionist fucking history going on about that shit. Because genuinely, like they changed out an Echo one trick for a fucking Echo player again. You know what I'm saying? Like they had Speedily and they got Spectra. It's like you can't fucking tell me that American Tornado wouldn't have done way better in the second half regardless, as it shifted away from Sombra Tracer. Echo became way more viable. Like Hydron would have gone over to Tracer because you know they would have given up on doing whatever else. Like they would have put Hydron on Tracer. They would have had Speed on Echo. Speed can play all those fucking weird freak heroes like Torb and shit like that. I really think that they would have had a similar level of success even if they hadn't changed the roster, low key. Because I know Spectra really like highly performed. You know, he did super well, but the meta shifted into like a Speedily signature hero meta, and Speedily is fucking bonkers at those heroes. No, like I would argue Speed's a better Echo than Spectra. No.
Well, yeah, I mean, I do agree that the first half of the season was. I mean, funny enough, us and Cass had like a preseason meeting, like kind of talking about like how we want to approach the season, you know, etc. And he like asked us because he was like, "So, what do you guys think like would be your worst meta?" And I shit you not, all of us verbatim at the same time said Monkey Sombra Tracer on a break. No bullshit. I'm not even making that up. So I do think the first half it was kind of the meta, but I do think Spectra come in like it was. Kind of like a culture shift. Like Speed didn't play Overwatch outside of scrims. He played Valorant. Like as crazy as that though here, like as he is at those heroes, he wasn't.
I retract my comment. Speedily wasn't even playing Overwatch, so you know Spectra is entirely valid in being the replacement for Speed.
He wasn't.
I take it all back.
He wasn't in it to win it. You know, like he wasn't like, you know, he wasn't doing as much as he could.
I never really understood this, actually. It's like, you know, you guys finally got your dream, right? Like all this time building to the American Tornado dream team where you all get to play together and prove everyone wrong. And then Speed's just like, fuck it. This is the year I'm going to completely check out. Like, fuck you guys. Like, what is wrong with you people? What I actually don't understand.
What the fuck?
That's a Gunba
not-
quote
not-
right
What are you
there.
talking about?
Fucking Australians, man.
This whole American Tornado friend group, it's always confused me to no end, you know? It's just like ridiculous. Fucking hell, look at the size on this kid's hench. But yeah, just unreal. But yeah, like you guys finally get your dream. Like everyone together, you did these 1+0 contracts to make it happen. You get there and then you're checked out. You're not even launching Overwatch. Like, how does that happen?
Let me tell you, man, a lot of shit happens in a year, apparently. Like, apparently a lot of shit happens. Like, people 180.
Well, it took
Yeah,
one
I mean-
heartbreak.
You guys say you 180'd, but you just told me that you never really did one scrim a day and you just fucking played ranked all day. Like, you guys weren't fucking trying even when you were winning, no? You were just good? And then you
just had
met
fun.
your level and you continued to not try, and then
No,
you
well,
got-
it's
No, but
not,
Speed
like,
was playing 12 hours of rank today.
I mean, I'm talking about like, not like when we met our level. It's just the year that we split. Like a lot of shit. Like Speed didn't play the game for like 6 months because he was underage, and just kind of like personal life problems happened. And then you have Reiner who broke his back, and yeah, just
And his chest.
I guess a lot of shit happens in a year. I don't know.
Did it not when you get the guys back together at the start of that Toronto event? Does it not feel like the old American Tornado at all? Then, in terms of like culture or atmosphere,
It did until we started losing. Then people started like the fan fucking broke. Like I don't know what happened. Yeah.
Do you think it's true that core could never actually lose? Like nobody in that group was actually capable of losing together, and your formula only would ever work if you were just outskilling the enemy? Because that was very much my perception, was that, like, you know, you guys had this super idealistic view that you were going to come into Overwatch League and just fucking dominate everyone all the time with no effort, and it just wouldn't stand up to the fact that the level of competition was too high, you know? Like I remember you guys would always get like hyped about winning some scrims versus Atlanta in 21, and it was like Atlanta was just the worst scrim team ever in 21, you know? Like it had Gator and Hawk, you know, like the previous generation of mentally ill morons that can't try and practice. So it was just another one of those teams where it's like if you loaded into a scrim, even if it was a warm-up scrim for a match, like they were going to lose because they were just going to check out after 3 seconds. Like they were the same as you guys in terms of practice ethic. But then you guys would come to Overwatch League and realize that the competition level is just way too high to check out. So do you think that there's any version where you guys could actually win in Overwatch League? Or were you just destined to fall apart because you couldn't stand up to the fact that you would lose eventually?
Kappa fucking Ross. Absolutely.
Here we go.
Listen. To be as deluded, to say that we had like misplaced confidence. Like, dude, we're like fucking. Think about it. If you're us, you're 16, 17-year-olds who half-ass your scrims. We don't try, and we show up and we scrim 6 dorks that get paid to play the game. And we fucking we show up and we like run them over. Like the only team we didn't lose to was like 21 was like Glads. Like we were so gassed up in the head. Like, bro, teams started to pay us to scrim them. You remember that?
I remember Seffi was paying you.
At one point, there was a bidding war between Glads and Atlanta who could pay us more to scrim them. Not joking. I'm pretty sure Brad paid us like $100 each.
What?
Or something like that.
Yeah,
way too much money.
So like,
Yeah,
bro, we were like on top of the world, but like to say that, oh, if we join now, like like a lot of shit happened.
But that's what I'm saying.
Now
like,
and the year that's split.
But that's what I'm saying, where the perception you guys have is fucked, right? Because it's like you guys were seeing warm-up scrims where, like, you know, it's like Atlanta's preparing for Glads, right? You know, they're preparing for this like double flex shit, and Atlanta really wants to warm up for Glads' comp. So Atlanta is just stuck on this one comp, and then you load into the warm-up scrim versus American Tornado, and they pick the best counter comp, which is like their one trick comp, and they're winning, and it's like Gator and Hawk are just sitting there, and it's like these guys are such fucking losers. I'm not even gonna try. Fuck this. What's the point, you know? And then you guys get all gassed about that.
No.
It's like if we were playing American Tornado in a match, we wouldn't be on the comp that we were on in the warm up, and then they would be running your shit, you know? Like it would be those
are like stupid specific scenarios. It was the entire OWL season of us. We only.
I believe you could run Toronto Defiant. You know, you could fuck those guys.
Listen, the only the only contenders team we would scrim was Hurricane. I think we didn't scrim anything outside of Al.
You went to map 7 with Hurricane on ping. You know, like it was. You guys were like even with them skill wise, weren't you?
Didn't we
Are we?
alternate?
I don't fucking know.
I think we alternated ping that match or that show match.
But
Okay.
No, I think we were all on 150. Right?
Okay.
I can't remember.
But did you not then see the London Spitfire team that you went 50-50 with then get absolutely fucking dragged through the mud in Overwatch League and consider maybe this is a little bit harder than we expected?
No, because
I
you
guess-
guys had like a different team though. You guys had Blase.
I mean, yeah, but that was like
They had Blase and they had ping. Like they had a lot of factors
Yeah, I
making
guess.
it hard for them.
So okay, let me
I
ask you this then. Sorry. So you say that a lot of shit happened in this one year. So if instead of Toronto being in 2023, if Toronto got all you guys in 2022, you think you guys would just run the league?
No, I don't think we would run the league, but I think we would have done arguably infinitely better than we did 2022, 2023.
What's infinitely better in placement?
I mean, how much better is infinitely better? We were what, 10th, 9th, 8th? We would definitely
Somewhere
be
in
like
the middle,
top
no?
5, 6.
Yeah.
Top 5, 6.
Okay,
Like,
that's a reasonable take. That's a reasonable
definitely
take.
like
Infinite.
Yeah, infinite.
definitely
3 places
definitely
back.
like contending. Like it definitely like isn't like I definitely don't load into a lobby thinking, yeah, there's no way we're winning today.
I mean, if you see Birdring on the enemy team, you know, at least you
Yeah,
got
you
a
just
little
start
bit of
shitting your
confidence.
pants. Yeah.
I'm more of a pisser, but you know, you do you.
I think some of it as well, because I think in many ways, the British Hurricane team that went to Overwatch League as London Spitfire as well, suffered from a lot of the same problems as we were all like really good atmosphere. Like I'm sure Unter can say, did we ever really have a bad time on Hurricane those like 6 months you were there?
Like
fun.
anytime I would get in trouble for doing stupid shit was basically the only time I didn't have fun at work.
But it's fair to say none of the players were putting you in trouble for calling you out for your stupid shit. But
No, it was just the assistant coach.
but once we go to Overwatch League and then we start losing, it's fair to say we were way less friends by the end of that season than we were at the start of the season. And the same thing happens. Like, is there any team that really withstands losing? Like, especially when you're losing the majority of your scrims, you're losing the majority of your matches. Can any team, regardless of pre-existing friendship level, actually withstand?
I don't know, but didn't you guys like kind of keep your core? Like you guys, who did you guys have? You have Hottie.
It was only
Wolfie?
Danid we changed. Yeah.
What about like?
But Sparkle wasn't there for the first 6 months because he was underage. So for the first 6 months, we had like a new DPS line of like Blase and
Hybrid.
Blase hybrid chat.
Hybrid.
Thunderous
So,
laugh.
But I'd say it's still the core, right? Because Hadi and Mulf did so much of the cooling. Our backline's still the same. Like it's still mostly the core.
Where's your backline?
Ripper and Kellex.
Yeah.
What I think happens is this is what my theory is, that when you get these teams that play together and dominate a scene, there is this assumption from everyone that the team just works together and every piece is valued the same. Whereas I think the reality of the situation is that when Hurricane were winning in EU, it was like Hadi and Sparker were doing a lot of the heavy lifting, and a lot of the other players on that team were not like necessarily contributing the same way, but they were still winning. And my feeling is that on American Tornado, that the players that maybe stayed towards the end, like the Hydrons, the UVs, the Collegiates, those are the guys that were doing the heavy lifting and like lifting the other guys up. And all of a sudden, when those guys reach their level, the people that you were kind of like carrying all of a sudden start to look like a problem. And the reality is, like, the decisions, in my opinion, that Cass made probably should have happened at the start of the season, because like the idea, like, it's so naive. You think about the idea that, oh yeah, all 6 players are equally good and we're all just really good, and we're just like, no, of course not. There's like a massive skill disparity in any team. And what should have happened for both Hurricane and AT is they should have kind of recognized which were the big dogs and then which were the little dogs, you know, and kill the little dogs and keep the big dogs.
I actually do agree with you. I think we saw the same thing happen this year with the O2 team.
Yeah, actually, it's a really good point.
And I mean, I remember like the preseason rank, like watching like Plat Chat, like everyone had them like first seed coming in, like perceived dominance, that they were just gonna run over everybody, like Junbin Max. But yeah, I agree. Like Reiner and like Kaluge, like that tank line, Overwatch 1, like that's a big deal, like type of tank line. where I agree. Like they did a lot of the kind of like the heavy lifting.
So I think the problem there is that like you couldn't have killed the AT guys in the preseason, Chris, because they were only shopping around to go together, weren't they? Like, just because they were a package, you know, you had to like sign them and then shoot them in the back of the head a week after signing them all and locking them in on contracts. Yeah. It's like, come out back, Christian. I got something to show you. And then, you know,
no, literally, that's what happened too. Like we were coming back from like the mall. It was like me, Collegiate, Wheats. Somebody else, Sam, I think. Sam.
Hey, wait, Sam, could you come with me for a second?
And we had just like submitted like our visas, like just in case we like it was like a couple weeks prior, like if we were going to make Korea, just like to have the visas ready. And they had our passports. So we're coming back from the mall to pick up our passports because me, Kaluj, OG, like a bunch and like Wheats, we had the trip to Dominican Republic planned. So we needed our passports to leave the country. And so we go to the office to pick up our passports. And boom, shot on the back of the head. 4 people died.
It's amazing.
So this was all like essentially a management and coach decision, right? So none of the players any involvement in this.
Martina decision.
I would say very little player involvement. Like we like mid-season, like as soon as we like didn't like qualify or like we didn't go through play-ins or whatever, we automatically knew that people were getting kicked. Like you could just feel the vibe. Like you can kind of feel like the way people were talking to each other. Like it was pretty tense. And we all had the misconception that it was just like we all knew like Speed was gonna get kicked just because like he just wasn't putting in the effort. And we thought it was gonna be like Speed and OG. And that was like everyone was saying that like that's what I heard. Like it was like doomsday in the office. And just out of nowhere, it was like him, Sam, Speed, Sam, OG, and Wheats, just all cucked.
Fuck.
All right, well.
Did you guys have Nohill as a coach?
Yeah.
How
the whole time?
A coach?
Well, the first 6 months, like he got there like 2 weeks before March got there.
Yeah, because he had all the visa shit, right?
Yeah.
I've heard really like. I don't know. I feel like he's really polarizing. A lot of people think he's a really good coach. A lot of people maybe don't. What's your bridge burning feelings?
Set that motherfucker on fire, please.
I don't know. He's a weird guy, like in the sense where his English isn't good enough to like. I feel like his brain operates faster than than he can say it. You know what I mean? But like sometimes he would just like say stuff that was like completely untrue. Like it was the funniest shit. He would look at VOD review. He'd be okay, next fight. This fight just monkey gap. Our monkey just get picked. And Colin stayed alive the entire fight. Like it was the most insane shit. Like you've never seen something like. So like he would have like good ideas from time to time, but sometimes he would just say like the most insane shit. He'd be like, "Oh, this fight, our Sojourn just get picked. I never died. I never died." But yeah, I'd say he's like a 75 overall.
That's not bad. What about Wheats? Is he a pure culture guy or Overwatch too?
He's a culture guy, but he's more of like he's more like not like the level head, but he's the mediator in a sense. Into where he's like the voice of reason. You know what I mean? Like everyone can be arguing about something, and then he'll be like, "Listen, guys, you play like this. Do we agree? Okay, cool."
So he's like the type of guy that really felt like American Tornado needed, because you guys had so many ideas and so many like ways you wanted to play. But you probably just needed someone to just fucking chill everyone out a little bit.
Yeah, and everyone's just scared of him.
And have Wheats, you know, like a bit of both.
And there's a bit of like a physical presence with that guy. That guy's like 6'5", like 400 pounds. Like that guy's scary.
I got a question for Hydron. You can mark the Yaki timer as well, because here it is. Do you think Gladiators would have been better in the second half of the year with Yaki shot in the head and replaced with Speedily?
No.
Okay, so you're really low on Speedily.
Well, okay, I'm not that. I'm also not low on Yaki. I think he's like an all right player.
Wait a minute, you're the guy. I just remembered. You're the guy that
Okay.
thinks Yaki's not fraudulent.
That's
Holy
right.
fuck!
Yeah, you said only
What
half
is wrong
fraudulent.
with you? You have the worst.
Yeah, he's
player
like
takes
he's
ever.
like half-assed. Like he's bro. Listen, I'm the one who
Half-assed.
plays against them in the lobby. You just watch. Shut the fuck up. You just use your little eyeballs. I shoot against the guy. He shoots back. I can feel it. You know what I
He
mean?
shoots back. How does he shoot back if he hasn't made playoffs fucking 17 years in a row, bro?
Hey, he's on a
Bro is shooting blanks.
But look at his roster for 7 years in a row. He's just bro. I've heard some
his
stories
roster.
about that
His
guy.
roster this year was way too fucking tough, bro. He couldn't possibly make it through with that.
Okay, well then let's talk about how you replaced Dante with Marvel, and then look at
Listen,
you.
we've talked about that at length. You know, we've been there, we've done that. You know, the
I think
mistakes
if we get a
happen.
Korean monkey, I actually think we're going to win the whole thing.
Okay, so you think Yaki shoots back?
I think he's all right. I don't think he's as bad as everyone thinks he is, but I don't think he's too crazy either.
When it comes into the clutch, Yaki would prefer to sit in stealth and watch his team lose than come out and shoot his gun. So you think Yaki shoots back, but in the important moments,
I've
Yaki
seen
actually
worse.
takes his mouse and he fucking tosses it over there. So
I've seen worse. Trust me.
Yeah, I mean, you played with opener, so of course you've seen worse. But
Papa Ross, that's not the worst.
It's actually incredible how Yaki fucking keeps taking strays in these podcasts. The guy's totally fucking irrelevant to any conversation. 5 minutes later, we're all sat here fucking roasting the guy. I really hope he doesn't watch the podcast.
My God, man.
I
just don't get it.
definitely doesn't have the English comprehension level to watch the podcast. Like, absolutely not.
That's another thing I'm curious about Toronto. I don't think Merritt speaks any English.
But he must,
Huh?
right? Because they did
Nope.
not speak English in
Nope.
Florida.
It's more like RuPaul learning Korean,
Okay.
and like someone translating for RuPaul. But the guy speaks negative English, from what I heard. Him and Sharon.
My impression was Checkmate and someone are like the conduits for the language
Yeah.
between everyone. Like their English is pretty good.
Yeah, good enough to like translate mid game.
Yeah, I feel like if I made that roster, I'm sure I would go for Checkmate or Proper or someone over Merit. No, like someone is like a no-brainer, I think. But I don't know. I feel like maybe sometimes it's just unlimited hit scans. You know, like hit scan is like, no offense, obviously, but it's not that like special role. You know, like everyone just has a fucking good hit scan and they just fucking shoot people. Like Merit didn't really prove to have like a massive hero pool. And if you're right in what you're saying about the English level, I feel like I would much rather get big
Like take
checkers.
someone Checkmate or something.
Or even like
Why are you guys
not
saying
just
checkmate over and over again? Take proper. Like,
well,
that's
take
checkmate.
proper.
Fucking
Take stalker.
take
Like
You guys would
proper.
take checkmate over proper, or
I
you
mean, I
opposite?
think Proper over
You take proper
checkmate.
over checkmate.
For
Like
sure,
20.
right?
Really?
For sure.
Here we
After
go,
last
here
year?
we go.
You think so? Really? After last year?
Bro, that team was so dysfunctional. And yeah, maybe because Proper's a little bit of a bastard, you don't take him for personality reasons. But on talent, Proper, I'm pretty sure, is still the best Overwatch player in the world.
You think proper fell off? You think proper's flopper now? Like not worth it?
No, I think proper just like doesn't take the game serious anymore. Like I don't think he really
Oh, you think
cares too much about
you
the game.
think- You think he doesn't care?
He's on his Speedly arc.
No, not on field, but I like hear shit about him. Like he just like hasn't touched a game in forever. Like I'm like,
Oh, really?
yeah, but maybe that's.
I mean, he won
just
that career
dedication.
thing.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Handily,
Maybe
too,
I don't know. Maybe I have a checkmate bias.
I think Checkmate is really good. Like I think his trace is really good too. Like I'd have no problem. My logic was that I think they were just trying to keep the Florida guys together as much as possible, right? Like RuPaul, someone Merit or Checkmate, you get like half of the roster that just won the Overwatch League, and then I feel like Vega, Sugar Free is probably the best in slot for what else you need.
Yeah, I'm also curious about like. I don't know. I think Chio is probably like the only other import main support you can get, right? Or Chorog, because
Yeah,
there isn't really any in NA.
it's
I think
true.
I think importing main support is such a waste of time.
I
Like with the
agree.
new format,
of course.
like tank is if you can get someone specifically, like tank is just the most valuable role to import ever. You know, maybe like someone Smurf just getting like these super flexible tanks that are like really, really high level on so many heroes. They're like super worthwhile, just worth more than anything else. And then, you know, you can get some crazy flex DPS that plays everything. Like your Kevsters, your Proppers, whatever, even your checkmates for the checkmate defenders in the room. But like if you're picking up a main support, it's like, bro, what the fuck does main support do, bro? Like I don't know. All that character does is just sit around and not die the majority of the time. You know, maybe you'll get like a double flex meta every now and then where they have like some skill expression, but it's like you're playing in like Kappa NA contenders from here on out. You know, like, and you're giving up on so much to pick up an import main support.
I mean, I do think in NA there's, I mean, not a lot, not like too many crazy players, but there's like some specific roles. There's about like 2 to 3 players max.
It's,
and then you
Main sport's
actually
one of them,
follow.
right?
like
It's
main
a more
support
flex
is like
DPS.
one of the roles you get the biggest upgrade on, if you know what I mean, between like the American
Yeah.
players available and the South Korean players available.
Yeah,
Like-
but I agree. It's not worth it. Even
Yeah.
still.
I don't know.
You want to play with Vega?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay.
Is he not good? Is he not like the next coming of Jesus Christ? That's what everyone says, no?
I mean, I don't know. From what I heard, it's like you think my ego's bad. Like his is somehow worse. Allegedly.
Really?
Wait. Like gun to your head. Oh no, wait, no. Gun to their heads. Christian
Yeah.
or Vega?
Right now, Vega.
You're shooting Vega in the head or you're taking Vega?
No,
Because
I'm
the
taking
gun's at
Vega.
their head. Okay, all right. Poor Christian. Getting shot again. Unbelievable.
I don't even think he plays the game like that anymore.
What, OG?
All I do, like when I'm like, I see the difference. They're just playing League all day.
This is an indictment on these guys right now. Like,
No, those are my guys, but they don't play the game anymore.
Do they all have money? Do they not think that they should continue this career? Am I the fucking crazy guy that thinks if there's a way to get paid to do this, you should keep going for a while? Or
I mean, I don't know. I think in NA, it's like the mindset's a bit different, to where it's like, at least the way I think, like if I'm not getting paid like more than 50, then why not just go collegiate and get a full ride and just get my degree and call it a career?
yeah,
what you going to study?
I don't know. Before it was psychology. Now maybe thinking business.
oh, I know a
Business.
guy.
Fuck off. The Kappa business degree comes through again. Like, unbelievable.
It's just a free degree.
Do you
You
think?
see, that's.
Go on. Sorry, I'll go on actually.
You go on. You go on.
Do you think that any of the guys that signed up for Collegiate this year, because you know that Winthrop roster is like full of the boys, do you think that if they get opportunities to go pro, they'll ditch it, or do you think they're actually committed to college?
No, absolutely, they'll ditch it. I think, but I do think, like, now knowing what the system is and how it's run, and I'm kind of like in the same boat. Like, if there isn't really an org that I can kind of play for, I kind of not too interested in to play, because like, why would I go unpaid when I can just get a scholarship for free, like a 50 grand worth scholarship, just get a free degree.
You can do both if you go collegiate as well, right? There's nothing stopping you entering these tournaments too.
Right,
And
which
just
is their
winning the prize money if you're like your team's good enough.
deal with Winthrop. Like, I think their deal is like they can just leave whenever, which is why they went there. But I don't think they would want to do both. Like, school and like full-time Overwatch competing is a lot.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to try it on Maryville. We're going to try and compete in both if we can, but I think that's like, yeah, once you start to get class and everything involved, I think it's it's not easy.
Is it like a certain minimum, like attendance they have to still give to like qualify for the collegiate program?
We on our team we have a minimum GPA. I don't really know what GPA is, but I think it's American for like test scores.
Grade point average.
I mean, yeah, I don't like it, you get a GPA of 3. It doesn't fucking mean anything to me. It could be good, could be fucking awful, but I think that we require 3 to. If you are below it, then management takes them out of scrims and makes them fucking study until they get it back up. So like there is I guess like a requirement to succeed in your academics if you want to get your free ride and play for the school, which I think is probably pretty reasonable.
Is that why Mikey keeps hopping between schools? He can't get the 3 GPA. He has to keep fucking re-rolling over and over again after a year.
From what I heard, Mikey does have some problems with his academics. That's what I've heard.
He probably is not the scholar of LA.
But someone keeps signing him, you know? He's always on a collegiate team.
So some people are just good at some things, and they're not good at other things. That's all.
That's true.
Some kind of collegiate striker.
Better at video games than school, perhaps.
It's a lot of people like that.
Well, I kind of wonder, like, how many people are getting into collegiate because they actually want a degree? You know, like they see a pathway forward for them with a degree, or are they just getting into collegiate because they can get some money and play Overwatch at the same time?
I think it's kind of like a bit of both. Like, at the end of the day, like, I think as an esport player, you kind of know that this isn't forever. So I think some people kind of just like want like a safe plan B. At least that's why I did in the first place. Like if I never made Florida in the first season, like I just would have still been in collegiate and just kept getting a degree. But I think especially now, yeah.
How far in did you get?
I just did a semester.
Okay.
But I could have kept going and did 4 years if I really wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there's like it's really interesting because I obviously have to think about this a lot in terms of like if there's ever a future in which you like try to sign players or like import players or whatever it is, it's like super fucking rough, you know, like to figure out because you don't want to like come to Maryville and play collegiate, and then like I know they don't want to go to school, so I'm like just fucking like scamming the guy, you know, even though he's going to make my Overwatch team better. So I feel like you have to like there has to be people that genuinely think like if the way I look at it for collegiate is this: if your logic is after I finish doing esports, I want to go to uni, then you should just transition Overwatch into uni, right, and just do collegiate. That's like the best way. But if you're after Overwatch finishes, if you're trying to do something else, go streaming or get a real job, then I feel like you shouldn't do collegiate.
Yeah, exactly.
You need to be like capable and willing to actually complete the program. And I feel like a lot of the people that are in collegiate right now actually have like very little interest in completing the program.
Like, yeah, it's like I can imagine if a collegiate team signs a Korean player, the only reason would be because that Korean player thinks that they can play in NA contenders and move up, you know, which means that whatever happens, this player is never going to complete the school side of it, which then kind of wastes everybody's time in a way. And I think as long as like collegiate players, like there's a certain level, it's like why I asked you about Winthrop, right? Because I feel like if you're a collegiate player, but your head can be turned by a professional team, then you should be doing collegiate anyway, you know, because actually you should only be doing collegiate if like you should be doing it as a fallback option. You should be doing it because you think it's the best thing to do for your life. But like we've seen a million times, how many collegiate players just immediately drop out at the first sign of like an Overwatch League or a contract, you know?
But like think about it. I think it's more of like a min-max to where it's let's say what the out season ended October,
Mm-hmm.
somewhere around there. Like what do you do as a player from like October, January? Like how are we supposed to know when they want to fucking announce this shit? Like it's kind of like the way I kind of look at it is like min max. Like how like what can I do with like what's the best thing I can do with my time? You know what I mean? Like if I'm just gonna sit home 6 months, wait for Blizzard to announce something, then yeah, I'd rather just do a semester and get that out the way and help
Do you
myself
get to keep your semester? If you do a semester, when next time you come back, you don't have to do the first semester again, or do you have to start from scratch?
It's like 3-month intervals. If you leave, like a semester's like 3-4 months. If you complete it, it counts. If you leave, like midway, it doesn't count.
So it's like doing a side quest, I suppose. You know, just like fucking check the first one off and then back on the main quest in case.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, university credits last for like 7 or 8 years almost. I want to say it depends on the length of the degree.
I don't think they expire. I think just I think maybe I'm wrong on that, but I know like some credits don't transfer to every school. Like you have to, like not all the credits transfer.
Yeah, I think if you wait like a really long time, you might need to like retake courses. You know, like they don't just give you like the number 1-to-1 thing. And like if you wait a really long time, like courses change, and they're like, oh, you need to retake this, that. Like your credits aren't all worth exactly it. And then like if you stay at the same school and you keep like deferring and shit like that over and over again, like you need to like reapply because there's like only a certain amount of time you can take to complete a course. And if you take fucking 15 years to do a 3-year degree, then like something's wrong, you know?
Probably.
That's probably a sign not to bother about with the degree anymore.
Yeah.
But it definitely seems like even if you're a Korean player and EU player and you're watching this, it does, from what I've seen, if you do actually fancy getting a degree, there is a way to do it for free in America if you like reach out to the right collegiate teams. So I do feel like as the orgs like either come in or dry up, I think if you're still playing at a decent level, it's a really good time to try and cash in now, instead of like maybe trying to give it a last ride on a fucking unsigned contenders team and then going back to uni, you know?
Yeah.
Well, it seems almost no reason really to do an unsigned team instead of a collegiate team.
Right, yeah.
Especially
unless you just don't have any interest in uni whatsoever.
Yeah.
Also, it's like you're like a 19, 20, 21, 22-year-old where it's essentially free housing. Like it's a new experience. College is
parties.
An exciting time. Yeah.
That's it.
So why not get out of your chair, get out of your room and Go outside.
Let's be honest. I've been to uni for a year and a half. Max has obviously studied a long time, and X went there. I feel like uni gives you more character building than any fucking experience in your life, right? Like,
Absolutely.
how many esports players do you know where you look at them and you think, you could use 6 months of university, like that you might be okay after that.
Yeah, I mean, I only did 3 months, but like just like me moving out for the first time, like living on my own, it's a big change.
It was like the first 3-6 months are probably the biggest months as well. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So you think everyone should get into like one single semester of collegiate bare minimum to not be completely useless fucking humans?
We've had horror stories on this shit where we have people flushing salad down toilets. We have all of these problems. There's no way you flush a salad down a toilet if you've done 6 months at uni. I believe that levels your character up enough to where you can no longer do that. Who was it was it Lastro couldn't open the blinds?
Yeah, no, Lastro said that he couldn't scrim because he couldn't see, and there was just a window in front of his face with a blind that he wouldn't shut. And someone had to come into his apartment, and personally fucking close the blind for him to resume the scrim. Like, just real humans for sure.
It wasn't like Sana who like flushed like something.
That's solid.
Yeah. That's it. Like, if I'm a doctor, 6 months of university halls. There you go. All those problems are solved,
That's fucking unheard of. Yeah, you live on your own, like meet new people, like. And that's a good thing about friends, like normal people, like people who don't play video games. Like they will like, there's a thing called shame. Like they will shame you enough to where you can like fix yourself as character development. They'll bully you a little bit, but it's for the greater good. Like for the
when I went to uni, they all called me Barnet, which is like an English name for fucking hair, because my hair was just a fucking gamer hair. It was fucking disgusting. So it took me a few months, but then I get the fade, and then there you go. You've still got the nickname, but they've made you better.
And then when you meet new people, you're no longer Barnet. You're just Chrissy with the fresh fade. I don't know if I'm not sure if I'm seeing like a low taper fade kind of angle from you right now. Can you turn your head to the side a little bit?
I need to get it cut, to be honest.
Oh yeah, I got at the box.
Like right now I'm married now, so I can kind of go back to my fucking don't give a fuck roots. That's like the cycle.
Back to the Barnet.
You're fucking ugly. You go to uni, you level up, you get married, and fuck it, let's see. That doesn't matter anymore.
Pretty much.
That poor wife.
Should we transition to Overwatch League 2022, the Florida years?
Ooh, some good stories here, right?
Let's talk about Hitler.
Yeah, let it out.
Do it. Fact check the fact check.
Yeah, we could get the fact check up as well.
Transcript out, get the fraud out.
Because it feels like Gunba refuted some of the things Hydron says, but Hydron has already alluded in this podcast that he thinks Gunba was lying. So
no, I know he's lying.
Oh, okay, I like that.
It's an absolute. He just made it up.
So it feels like we're doing the ethical thing by allowing both sides to speak.
Thank God we can be the arbiters of this.
We're good people.
Okay, so where do we start?
Is it possible I can take a leak?
It is, man. Yeah. It is.
Maybe like the easiest place to start is like I feel like the big story is the coup, the mutiny. So, can you talk to us from your side of it? How did the mutiny start? Why did it start? What was the problem? And how did it unfold?
It was kind of like an over a period of time. Like it was kind of. It wasn't like necessarily like exhaustion, but it was a lot of things pent up over a couple months span, and us as players, we kind of felt like, not only was it not working, but it didn't feel like not that we weren't heard, but it wasn't like it felt like a Hitler situation. It was his way or the highway, and yeah. But the funny part is, I like a lot of that mutiny kind of gets blamed on me because like we're like convinced that I'm the one who started it, and like it's me trying to like get everyone else to agree with me, but it's like I'm the only one on my team that like English was like their first language. Like I'm the only one that can talk to Albert in like full sentences and like explain what everyone's talking about.
So Martina wasn't on the Florida Mayhem in that year. There was no Martina figure. I mean, you kind of established yourself earlier on as the leadership figure, though. You say like, "Oh, it gets blamed on me," but it does sound like you're the man of action when you get you guys in a room together. Because everyone else is a bit passive. We got a lot of followers. So if it wasn't you, who was?
No, exactly. No, I know. I mean, you can give me the blame, but I'm to say that it was like me who wanted him out and me who like tried to get him kicked. Like, I mean, I'll take the blame, but it wasn't just me who wanted that. And like, I'm kind of trying to convince all my teammates to agree with me. Everyone wanted the same thing.
What was he doing to you? What made this the case? Why did you want to kill Gunba mid-season? What was he doing to you, poor guys?
What didn't he do? Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
I mean, so there was like I think I mentioned during my stream, it was like about like the 3 block days, like the triple review, quadruple review. I think he replied or something like that, where he's like, "Well, we rarely 3 block date and reviewed after, or like it was very once in a while, or it was like a something reward system." He said, "That's Kappa, Flappa, Saka, everything." And not only is it Kappa, not only did it happen almost every day, right? And that also goes into my point about like him like taking drugs and shit. RuPaul came out and said that on his stream that's not true. Like his reply to saying that it only happened once in a while, he said it, I swear to God, on stream. He was like, "That's Kappa." Like it happened a lot. And then there was just like, it was kind of just like his way or the highway. Like us as players, we had no input on anything that happened. Like we weren't like being listened to like in review and shit like that. He like tried to get rid of a bunch of us. Like he kicked like Adam, Chris, and like he signed all these players with like just like by himself, essentially. Like he would say like crazy, like he tried to trade like Majid mid-season. He tried to do like a bunch of shit behind our backs, and we were just like sick of it.
Do you like not? I guess I am on my defending Hitler arc again. Do you look back at that and then also look back at the success he had last year and think that actually you should have let him do his way, especially when it came to like the feedback and review? Like, is there an argument that actually he had a better vision than any of the players, and if everyone had just kind of fallen in line, we could have, I don't know, enough about Nazi Germany to get like a really funny anecdote here, but could we have achieved something?
Well, no, because from what I heard last year, he didn't do that. He wasn't the same he was the year prior. Like from what I heard from those players is he wasn't nearly, I mean, not nearly as bad, but like as in terms of like the workload, like it wasn't nearly the same as it was that season.
I think this is true as well, just for what it's worth, to vouch for Hydron here. Because I remember I used to talk to McGravy about like, he started assistant coaching with Gunba in 22 and then, carried it through to 23. Dying. And on all accounts, the workload got a little bit less extreme, a little bit less superhuman going into the next year. There were definitely elements of the 22 environment being perhaps a little bit unbearable because of how frequently the punitive measures were brought in.
Yeah, was it not what Gunba said though, where he said that basically if you lose, you review, and did they not just like lose less in that season? You don't think that was like the main? Or do you think he actually saw the light and changed his style a little bit too?
I mean, that was definitely the system, but it wasn't. It's not like the review like necessarily like wasn't like a. It wasn't like because it was a map to map basis. It was more like the frequency. He also said that we never morning reviewed, which is such Kappa, Flappa, Saka. Like we would get there at the office at 12. We would have like half an hour to eat. We would review, then we would scrim, review, scrim, review, scrim, review. So it's just like 3 scrims, 3 reviews, and we're at that point we're like getting home to like almost like midnight or like 11, 10, 12 like every day. And granted, there's no ranked, right? So it's like that's all we had.
Yeah. So actually, I don't know. Is there any, apart from like working hard, what was the core complaints? Was it just that you felt like he was unreasonable with the amount he's worked because he was like doped up, so he wasn't feeling the pain that you guys were? Or was there like other styles of his coaching which the players didn't like?
I mean, he's just like unbearable. Like he's like not to not to call somebody like a racist because it doesn't really bother me, but like
Coldplay.
like he's actually racist. Like he's actually like a terrible like human being. Like just interacting with him is unpleasant. Like it's just he's just like a piece of shit, just straight up. And I have like no problem saying that because I've never felt so strongly about a piece of shit in my life than him. Like he's terrible. Like nobody I've ever met has ever enjoyed his interaction. No one's ever enjoyed working with him because he's just miserable to be around.
So when you guys went to Albert and you said this, what was Albert's response to you? Was it just try to keep you on side, or was there any indication that he was considering allowing the mutiny to happen?
From what I gather from it, it's like he wanted to give him the opportunity to like change, but he's also Albert's not a complete like he's not dumb. Like he knows how much of a piece of shit he is, but he not to say he kind of allowed it, but he allowed him to change. And after we did have the mutiny, he did like kind of dial it back a bit, I'll say. But I think the dial back a bit only lasts for like a certain period of time. Like he said he was going to change, he changed for a little bit, and he went right back.
Because obviously, I don't know if you watched our Laurie interview we did last week. I feel like actually Laurie is like way more extreme than fucking Gunba. But one thing we were criticized management for last week was like keeping Laurie on when he had all of these things. But one thing we've complimented Albert for was maybe the decision to keep Gunba on, because ultimately not getting rid of him presumably led them in some way to a championship title. Do you ever feel like it was like a good decision upon hindsight, even though you maybe didn't approve of it at the time?
I mean, maybe. I mean, the way it was kind of framed to me, it was he is the best. I mean, I'm not gonna say he's a dumb coach. Like he's not a dumb coach in any regard. Like he's good, he's smart in game, but you know, from what I gathered from Albert, he was at the time like he's the best bang for their buck.
Right.
So
I think what Gunba, Laurie, what these people are like lacking is think about how in 22 and 23, like the system might actually not have changed, right? Like if you lose, you will review it. If you lose, you will review it. And this is probably like similar to Laurie in the sense that, you know, it's like if you lose, you're going to get fucking punished. If you lose, you're going to get punished. I think the problem that a lot of these coaches have, even Gunba, is that like, you know, they never like recognize their team's power ranking position within the league. And I think it's you know, maybe it's even more egregious with Gunba because Gunba for sure knows, you know, like Gunba knows whether he's going to win or lose in a given year with his team. You know, he doesn't have these delusions internally that the 22 Florida Mayhem is going to win the Overwatch League. He definitely knows that his team is like middle of the pack, right? But if you know that you're coaching a middle of the pack team, why are you applying the strictest punishments in the entire fucking universe for that extra 1% when that 1% definitely comes at this huge detriment, you know? Like if your team is winning 80% of practice, you can afford to punish them when they lose in the 20%. But if your team is really middle of the pack, you're not winning 80%, right? You're losing more or you're going even. And if you're punishing people for going even, then by the end of the year, everyone is going to want to kill themselves, right? So I think that like the big weakness that a lot of these guys have is that like, you know, because they're purely driven on like, we need the absolute best result all the time. And they have that like punishing punitive mindset, then they just fuck their whole, like they fuck their team culture by the end of the year and make everyone hate them because if they're not winning everything, then they're just permanently punishing their team. And I think they need to be capable of recognizing, like, look at Vancouver, right? Like look at Vancouver this year. They have like, I'd say like the perfect cultural acceptance of where they were on the standings, right? Like I think that Vancouver probably had like a pretty similar strength roster to something like 22 Mayhem. And then their final placement, you know, maybe it was a little worse, right? So I guess there's still some merit to the Gunba system, right? Like you will get a higher final placement. But at the end of the day, like they're not winning, right? And the players didn't hate it at the end of the year. So if you're not winning, you're losing. If you're coming some like irrelevant back end of playoffs finish, does it really matter?
I mean I like 100%. Like he would even like not like own up to it, but he would like admit it. Like he would tell us, he's like, we're not winning anything this year. Like I signed like a team, bunch of rookies. Like we're not winning anything. Like every time we were out of land, like Toronto, Dallas, Hawaii, like we'd be losing the match. You'd be like, guys, I don't know why you guys are so nervous. Like we suck. Like this is a vacation. This is a free vacation. Why do you care so much? Like he constantly reminded us that we were not like, not the team he had this year, right? So, which doesn't make sense as to why it was so much. And to think, we started scrimming in November. The season started in May.
Yeah, I remember you guys were on it really early with your Zaya Reaper camp, you remember?
And we're like double blocking. I'm like scrimming from like 12 a.m. to like 6 a.m. with like review and shit for like 3 months. And then he comes into the office before he's like, you guys weren't working hard. Like, that's nothing. Like delusion.
And I think one thing, I can't remember if he said it specifically on the podcast when we had him on, or if it's just something he said in general, but I feel like Gunba's also very aware that he's not a people person and often has problems recognizing, or maybe not even recognizing, but handling that side of things in terms of, I don't really call it like player happiness or player mental for like a long season.
All right, then one thing I want to ask you, pressure you for, our good friend Gunba, he told me after you had your stream and stuff, he told me that you guys before that were on speaking terms and you were like planning on making a team for Saudi or something. Is that true, considering that you didn't ever want to work with him ever again?
It's like half true. Now, funny part about that is,
What?
I was talking to the Saudi org, and they're like, so like, what do you think about Gunba? Like he says like you guys might not be cool. I was like, oh yeah, like cool with them, like just whatever, just go to Saudi, fucking vacation, free money, like whatever. Like I don't give a fuck about him. Like what is he gonna do to me? Like it's like a 2-week tournament, So that's like half true. But then funny enough, I'm like about to join the team, and all of a sudden he's like, the guy's like, oh yeah, we don't want you anymore. So
he got you.
He got you.
Got me again.
Bastard booed me like one more time.
So yeah. And then he fucking lost in the qualifiers, so good for him. But yeah. Great guy.
Great guy. Your favorite? Yeah.
But now if there was a situation, well, let's say the hypothetical was something like an org's involved, the org is providing all the things you would say you want in terms of, so you got housing, you got the salary, but Gunba's the boss. Would you work with him again in that situation? Everything in the realms of everything else is like acceptable?
No, not even close. I told Albert towards the end of the 2022 season, when we were like season had ended, like free agency just started, he was like, it's kind of like a post-season talk about like next year when I was like, Albert, I'm never like, I'm not going to re-sign if he's on the team next year. And I straight up told him, and I wasn't the only one who said that. Like it was, I would never. Like I said this on stream too. I was like, if you had told me you could be on Mayhem last year and win the whole thing, but deal with Gunba for a year, or just be on Toronto and be like mid, I would pick Toronto in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I do think. I mean, obviously the Overwatch League fucking died, right? So maybe it's not super relevant, but I think that actually having a culture which makes players want to play again, like what Unna was saying about Vancouver, that we tried to do something similar with London, right? Where like, oh, we didn't win anything, but people want to come back. It also is really fucking useful for you. And probably, I don't know, for me, it makes me feel a little bit better inside knowing that like the players enjoyed the year on the team as opposed to like just this mindset of success.
I mean, like it gets to like a certain point to where like even last year's team and the team I was on in Florida, like the players bond. We literally like the players unite each other of how much they fucking hate that guy, and they literally become like it's like the power of fucking friendship. Like I shit you not, it happened this year and last year, to where like I don't know, you just like you unite, you fucking hang out after scrims. You're like, I fucking hate that guy. You're like, me too. And yeah,
I don't know. There's a weird thing here because I feel like maybe Chris will know some examples of this as well, where you'll see some like football managers, like soccer for you, Hydron, will do a similar thing where they'll almost play the villain to their players to try and wind them up or get more out of them. Was there ever a point during the season where you thought it is pushing you, like maybe because he's been so critical or you dislike him so much that you're then like, you want to fight harder to prove him wrong?
No, like I understand what you're talking about because like I played sports outside of Overwatch and like I've had those coaches where you're like, this guy's a piece of shit, but you want to like prove your worth, you know? Not once did I ever feel that for that guy.
Gunba just make you feel worthless? Like what was the difference?
Oh, I just wanted to like punch that guy or something. Like I don't know.
Okay, so you didn't want to play better. You just wanted to assault him, which is like a bridge too far.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you didn't, right? You never punched him?
Never.
He's not striker, bro. Come on.
That's why he's a winner, you know? You get shit done.
Yeah, no fucking half measures, Hydron. Maybe if you took a swing at Gunba, you'd still be on the floor in a Mayhem.
I said it. Yeah. Well, yeah. I would never do such a thing.
Good.
Yeah.
Was the sentiment much different? Well, I mean, we talk a lot in this podcast about the cultural difference between, say, Korea and the West. And maybe Gunba's style feels like it would fit more with the core idea of like the stricter, more harsh Korean coaches. Was there much difference between you guys and the Koreans in terms of how they reacted to Gunba?
I think the Koreans were a lot, not like necessarily straightforward, but I mean, he's still like the coach at the end of the day. So I think they probably like generally have more respect towards like somebody in that type of position. And so they won't do certain things, or they won't like not necessarily like talk back, but like they won't, they'll never get like that to somebody in like a position of power. So they probably have like more respect towards that type of thing, compared to like us Americans or whatever. Like I don't know, but I'm also not gonna be like a complete pussy if this guy's just gonna like shit on me for like an entire year. Like I don't care. I don't really care how much like I know you're my head coach, but like I'm still your player, so you're gonna have to show me some type of respect.
There's genuinely no respect on a Gunba team from the top down, so it's not a system that's going to work for you, I feel.
Yeah, respect is hard.
Yeah, it feels like the AT system and the Gunba system could not be more opposed, actually. Like they are genuinely opposite ends of the spectrum.
It's not even like being a system, it's just like being a human being, perhaps. Like it's not even like how my X team was. It's just like basic human shit.
I feel like if I give a picture I have in my head of what Reiner is like and a picture in my head of what Gunba is like, and imagine putting them in a team together, I just like somebody's taking a swing for somebody at that point.
Fro would just give up. Fro wouldn't care. I don't think it would matter what Gunba would say. Fro just wouldn't care.
Yeah. That team would have lasted a month.
Yeah.
Well, that's also another thing he does, right? Like he picks up rookies, and I don't even know this, but like it makes sense because I was told this. But he picks up like a team of rookies that are like malleable, like you've never been in the league, like you don't know what the standards are, like you don't know what anything's like. Everything's like brand new to you, and so like he's very intentful when it comes to who he picked up and like why he did what he did, because like you can't do that to like fucking Twilight, who's been in the league for like 3-4 years, and you're like what are you doing? Like no one's ever done this before. Like, but you can do that with a team full of rookies.
100%. I'm 100% sure you're right that he thinks that once a player gets to a certain age or has a few years under the belt, there is like a certain ego or a certain like lack of malleability, like you said, that he doesn't necessarily want to work with because it's hard to change players, especially players who've had success doing it their own way. Whereas you get a guy that's just happy to be there, and then you can kind of mold them into how you want.
Well, especially this first season, Florida, right? Like someone comes in as a full rookie. I don't think he was like particularly high on anyone's radar. Checkmate comes from just being a perma bench essentially on the old Florida roster. They're probably quite happy just to come in just to get the playtime and get the starting spot in Overwatch League.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, everyone was rookies essentially outside of Automo. Like Checkmate never really played DPS his rookie year. Just kind of tank.
Yeah, the emergency fucking tank guy.
Yeah, and he had Kuki the year before, so. That poor guy.
Checkmate took a job off OGE, no?
Fuck.
Yeah.
Little
I heard he's
client
looking for a
mention
team.
there.
I don't know if you guys heard that.
Yeah, and I've heard that somewhere through the grapevine.
How did it work when Exy joined the team? Because obviously when Exy joins the team, there's a clear competition for role coming into play. How did you feel? Was it always the plan that someone else was going to come in, or were you expecting it, or did it just happen one day that this guy's here and you're now competing for your spot?
Yeah, it was just like random one day. Like Chris had got kicked, and luckily when Chris got kicked, because we were roommates, so he came back to the apartment, and kind of told me what happened. Then he was like, "Yeah, they're getting Exy, by the way." I was like, "What?" I was like, "Phew." So it was a bit of a surprise to everyone else, but luckily, like I wasn't supposed to know, but I knew. But yeah, like I liked Exy, but like it was like a weird dynamic. Like there would be some matches where it's just like, okay, you play, we lose. Okay, now this guy's in, this guy's out. Like at one point in the season, I asked him, I was like, so like, because I was bench at the time, I was like, so like, would it be possible? Like, what could I do to like try and play again, or like, would it be possible? And he was like, listen, like I get it, like, but it's like you're competing with an ex MVP candidate, like, so you're like never gonna play again. And I was like, oh. And this is like halfway through my like rookie year. I'm like, oh, well that's sick. And then like a month later, I'm playing. So it's just like completely random, and it's kind of how he like how he was feeling on the day is who got to play.
Yeah, I think one thing about Gunba that maybe you don't recognize when you hear him talk once, but you realize if you talk to him for a long period of time, is that he speaks in lots of absolutes. When he speaks, he's always talking with like massive certainty. Like this is a super decided thing. This is really concrete. I'm right in this situation. But if you talk to him for like a week, a month, it's like he fucking changes his mind all the time. And even though he was speaking with absolute certainty about how something is going to be this way forever, he just changes his mind a week later, and it's like it never occurred. It's like it never happened. So him saying to you like, "Oh, you're never going to play again," it's just the biggest load of shit ever. Because in 3 days, X is going to do something wrong, and he's going to walk up to X and be like, "You're never playing again."
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even like when I think like our best placing was 4th in Toronto. Like even after that, and we were like all hyped because we got fucking 4th. Like he wanted to replace me for playoffs. Like he's just like for no reason, not like because I think that was like my best tournament. Like I felt like I played the best in that tournament. And yeah, he was like, yeah. But I think other powers prevented that from happening. But yeah, he's just like completely random. Like I think even happened during like the Junker Queen meta where we lost with like RuPaul and Animo and like Brig Licio. Then the next match it's Majid and Animo. Then the next match is RuPaul and Majid. And it's just like completely random. Like he just shows up to the office. He's like, okay, Majid, you're playing this match. And just like no beforehand discussion, just this is what he wants, so this is what's gonna happen.
Yeah. Did we cover World Cup at all? Or did we skip that?
Oh, we haven't.
We can go to the World Cup.
Yeah, because I remember we were talking about choking before, and we haven't even talked about the most egregious one, I would argue, where I genuinely felt like you guys were favorites, like you kind of had that whole event on lock, low key, high key, you had 2 really fucking good flex supports, you had Hydron, and you had, the best Sigma in the world. But then what happened? What's going on there? Was it a coach gap?
That's all she wrote, man. I don't know what to tell you. That's what happened there. There's so much shit. There's like
just
what's funny? Like if you talk about it, it just sounds like a bunch of excuses. So like I don't even know what to say about it.
Who was pissing, man? Like is someone was pissing their pants on that stage? Like it had to be. It's not even possible to have a result that shit. Like
just like a combination of shit. But it just sounds like an excuse if you say it. So it's like it's
you're not even gonna say the excuses, like
everyone knows, like, oh, like Collegiate's on a cut, like fucking, we have fucking like an off roll, like fucking now we're playing with Super, and then fucking Bastion, and then somehow we lose to Saudi, and then the shit just hits the fan, everyone starts panicking, like, oh my god, how did we lose to Saudi? We're in a Sigma meta, how did we lose? Because we're like winning every scrim, so we're like convinced that we're the favorites.
And you're playing Super. What's that about? You've got Collusion, you're playing Super.
That's a front office decision.
Oh, front office decision. So that one's on Coach Gator?
Albert.
No, Coach Albert.
Yeah.
That'll be-
Well, he is looking for head coach roles right now, so
He said he'd throw his hat in the ring. Small
Yeah,
little hat. But yeah, he's throwing in a hat nonetheless.
Yeah. So yeah, just a bunch of shit. Just embarrassing.
So it wasn't a coach gap, it was a general manager gap?
No, not a general manager gap. Just a shit the bed gap.
Okay.
Shit the bed gap.
It happens. It happens.
Yeah.
All right, that was a very quick World Cup segment. But
The
I mean, I feel like we
cafeteria
covered
lights
it a few
got
times.
so big.
The cap lights were too bright.
Right.
Oh shit! What a
All
disaster!
right. Do you guys want to do a quiz?
Look, the viewers, they come for the quiz, bro. Like they're
Okay,
here for
we
it.
can do a quiz. Maybe you could write feedback. If you don't care about the quiz, you can be honest with us and we'll stop doing it. But all right, so Hydron, over your time, you've been very complimentary of your boys at AT, and you haven't really criticized any of them. So what we're going to try and establish in this quiz is who is the best and who is the worst player out of those original AT boys. We've done this format before, but obviously you never watched the show, so you don't know it. I'll ask you two players. Max and X will they'll guess who they think the better player is. You'll tell us the answer. They'll get a point. So you don't actually get any points, but you get to do all of the juice. Okay.
Okay, copy.
We'll start. Okay, so who's better, Sam or Speedily? So let these two guess, and then when they've guessed, you tell us the answer.
This is hard, because like I think Peak Speedily is obviously better, but at the same time, like he don't fuck with Speedily no more. Speedily,
Oh god, come on, that's my guy still.
Bro would take Yaki over Speedily. It's like that was an actual quote from the show. So like that's fucked up.
That's my guy. Stop it. That's my ex-roommate.
I'm gonna let my own biases get ahead, even though I think it's wrong and say Speedily above.
Well, I actually think, because I feel like once someone retires, any sort of fading, you just forget about it. You just remember the glory years, right? So then I'm actually going to go Speed as well.
Oh, my answer 100% Sam.
Oh,
Yeah.
Swing and a miss. Swing and a miss.
All right. So the next one, Sam versus our good friend Christian.
OG.
That's him.
Okay.
I'm gonna put Sam above.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Sam.
Okay, Sam.
Oh, Christian.
Not again.
I just can't catch a win.
Jesus.
All right.
Home
So,
openers on this list somewhere.
That's so fucked.
okay, then Sam or Ultraviolet?
UV.
It's got to be UV, right?
Yeah, it's UV.
Okay. So we're doing good so far. Okay. UV or Reiner?
Frill.
Reiner. Oops.
I think I might go Reiner. Like, there's something in my gut telling me to go that way. So yeah.
That happens all the time on the quiz. Don't worry about it. It's never very
Some
good.
people,
All right. Okay.
Lots of people shoot quick. Don't worry about it.
All right. Reiner or Kaluge?
Well, one's a follower, one's a leader. Like
I'm gonna stick Reiner.
I'm back on my boy, 100%. Even if Hydron don't agree.
I actually have to think about this,
Yeah, it's a tough one.
That's not your strong suit, is it?
And this is like all time, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. It is a really hard one, actually.
It's pretty hard. Because, for me, thinking about, contenders and, kind of like the start and, how they did on their separate teams, they both did pretty good on their own. And
It's like Reiner on Junker Queen.
And contenders, they were our two best players, right? So that's true. Reiner on Queen is fucking.
Reiner on Queen or Kaluge.
I'll take Kaluge.
Okay.
Real?
Yeah. I think Kaluge can play more heroes.
Okay.
Disrespect.
All right, and then the last one, Kaluge or Hydron?
What the fuck?
It's also a test of how humble he is,
It's like a humility test.
Yeah.
I'm feeling Hydron top of the power rankings with a back double bicep in tow,
we're tied in the quiz right
Yeah.
now as well, right?
There's a way
This
to
could
end.
be a
Yeah.
win for you, mate.
Fucking hell. Well, yeah, you said Hydron, right? So I'm gonna go Collegiate, so we have a definitive winner.
All right.
And this is who I think is better,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
or
will.
Yes.
like
better.
who's actually better.
Oh, who you
Who
think?
you think is
Oh,
better, you know?
I'm always gonna say me, bro. I'm always gonna say me, bro.
Humility test has failed.
Like-
You should have known, dude.
Like
Can you hit the
under no circumstance am I ever gonna load into a lobby and be like, this guy's better than me.
All right, okay then. So if we did Hydron versus Lip, you're still going Hydron?
I would always go with me, bro.
Okay. Well, that's a good mentality, and it helped Hunter win the quiz this week. That's good.
Another one.
All right.
All right. So
Rank the guests, release him.
let's
No.
do client of the
Client
week.
of the week. All right.
Oh, client of the week.
So anyone got any nominations?
I feel like this is one of the most hotly contested client of the weeks we've ever had. I don't know how you guys feel. So I don't know. Are you looking to put your Reddit friend Fred?
I
in
think
here?
not. You know, I think I think making a Reddit thread, it's just like low hanging fruit. You know, like the people that reply on Reddit have actually got holes in their heads. You know,
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
it's like I'm arguing with someone about the state of Overwatch, and then I look at the guy's profile and his post is 10 days ago. I just launched Overwatch for the first time in 7 years. It's like, what the fuck am I arguing with right now? You know, like this guy doesn't know anything about anything. It's like this is my job for like fucking half of a decade, and this motherfucker is arguing with me like he knows something. Like, what's the
Because he
point,
logged
you
on
know?
last week.
Yeah, literally. It's like it's such low hanging fruit.
We have enough time accumulated on this game that we could have all collectively got a PhD.
Yeah, no.
That's how much
Overwatch
time we
doctor,
have
you
on
know,
this
like it's actually absurd.
All right,
I think
so-
skip the Reddit. Yeah.
Okay, the Redditor, he probably doesn't watch the show, but he was honestly one of the biggest clients I've ever seen. So honorable mention. I feel like I want to give it to Halo of Forts because I felt like Halo of Forts coming out of retirement for the 6th time, because no matter how his life goes, the thrill of that dopamine of leaking a roster because someone DM'd you, it's just too sweet for him to resist, you know? So he's back out of retirement for the 6th time. I also feel like if we've been running this podcast like in Cross the Overwatch League, this guy would be the all-time top scorer, right? Like I feel like actually across like the 5 years, I think this guy probably would be our client of the season, client of the fucking Overwatch League. So I feel like he's really, really, really into it. Do you guys have anyone else?
I have a nominee.
Wait, RuPaul has to be up there, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
If
For
we show
getting
the
himself in
screenshot, I
trouble.
feel like it's, I don't know. Does he hate us?
we
for
can show a
showing it?
screenshot because it's already got RuPaul's face on it. You know, like we're fine. You know, RuPaul's already fucked it up, put it out into the public space. So
No, I mean the one of his Twitter. You know the one I posted.
no, don't put that up. Don't put that up.
Pussy. Well, yeah, I think that actually, yeah, leaking the patch notes for 5 gifted subs and then potentially risking the wrath of fucking Blizzard does feel like a move that was not well thought up. So I think he played an extremely fucking dangerous game.
Well, the biggest client bit is actually the 5 gifted subs, because this is a huge patch, right? One of the biggest patches ever.
Exactly.
And he's traded it for 5. He could have actually, if he had started gassing it up, like, guys, you need to see these patch notes. You need to see them. You won't believe it. It's such a huge change. I need 50 subs or something.
Yeah, it's a fucking this is like leak of the fucking last 3 months. Like he had it in his hands.
What's your
25
career?
dollars.
What's your career worth in subs, Hydron? Like, how many gifted do you need to give away your career?
Fuck,
What do you
dude.
mean, like retire?
Yeah,
No,
that's what
like,
I'm saying. You know,
do
because
something
that could be
that
what
burns
RuPaul's
all
done.
of
You
the
know, like
bridges.
Like,
what's the gifted quota to fucking piss your career up the
To
wall?
risk
Listen,
getting banned from all
If
tournaments.
if RuPaul the Owl Champ is 5 gifted, then I'm taking like a prime sub.
That's all I
No
need.
way.
It's awesome.
So then, yeah, I guess unless anyone has
Oh,
anything
wait.
else between, go on.
Is there anyone for you, Hydron? Is there anyone from your time living with people in Florida, living with Toronto, who you just thought these guys are absolute fucking clients to live with, who need to be exposed for their shambolic existence?
No, I actually enjoyed all my teammates. I don't have any like outside the game, like living with them, and nothing. Nobody was too crazy, like in real life. Like funny enough. Some
Nothing
people were
dumb,
dirty, but that's
nothing-
about it. I mean,
Nothing like living
okay.
away from home for the first time kind of moments, you know?
Oh, Majid, like for sure. Like that guy, like when I first got him in Florida, like it was a rough start, but we got there. Like he just comes from a very different place. Like his setup back home is very different to living on your own for the first time. And yeah, being out
You
on
think
your own.
so?
Absolutely. That guy.
Is there like a difference
like-
in maids and stuff like that taking place?
I listen. I like have to teach this guy how to like use the stoplight like to cross and like.
Oh,
Jesus.
okay.
But that's my guy, though. I love that fucking guy.
Yeah.
No ill will, just rough at the start.
All right.
Alright.
So who's winning this week?
I think my vote probably goes to RuPaul. I think that even though Halo's like an all-time client, you know,
Yeah, he'll
like
be
I think
back next week,
Halo
like,
could
don't worry.
Halo could win client of the century.
gonna
you know?
win.
He's just a fucking robot day in day out, you know, like he's committed to the hustle, but we can't give him the award every week.
That's
Whereas
true.
RuPaul, it's like this guy is kind of like in the prime of his career in terms of like opportunities to seize for himself. You know, like he's at the very top of NA. He really couldn't have been in a better position professionally than he was 2 days ago, and he decided that he was just going to go and leak this fucking mega patch, which is just the stupidest thing you could possibly do in the entire world. You know, it's like I don't know. Did any of you guys have the patch notes? It's like I had the patch notes. Someone sent them to me, and they were like, "You want to get back at Blizzard? You want to post these?" And I'm like, "No, like I would like to remain employable." Yeah, literally. It's like, what are you fucking crazy? Like, no, I'm good. Like, so overall, it's just like. I can't believe that RuPaul was the one that caved on that, you know? It's like the guy that really needs to be in the good graces of Blizzard to keep making money. So I think client of the week for sure, RuPaul.
Yeah,
for,
enough.
for sure, RuPaul.
Yeah, well done, RuPaul. Don't worry, Halo, you'll be in. Just keep doing what you do, and you'll get it sooner rather
Don't
than
change
later.
anything. You've got it in the
we see what
bag.
you're doing, Halo. Keep it up, brother.
Yeah.
He's
All
like
right.
permanently ineligible for the Hawelka Award now. It's over.
Oh yeah, true. But I guess they'll never do that award again, right? Do you think they do awards? Probably not, right? No more
Fuck no.
awards. Fuck.
All right then. Rank for guest.
All right.
Most-
How's our graphic looking?
It's actually the guy fixed it for us. So shout out to Wink for fixing it immediately. So everything should work, which is also what I said last week. But this time I'm like 8% more confident that I'm actually telling the truth.
Okay. So I think it literally can't touch like those top three. Like that top three is like it has to be. There's such good episodes, you know. I think it's just somewhere in the middle, you know. I don't think there's nothing too crazy about this one. There's nothing too bad about this one. I feel like I can't put them below Rack. I can't put them above 9K. So it has to be somewhere in there.
Yeah, I'd probably put him like around 9K caliber. I want to put him above Cass, you know? I think
And that's
Cass,
for real head-to-head, right? If he was better or worse than Cass.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like that's a no-brainer, you know? Like Hydron's clearing Cass every day of the week. Coaching documents be damned. Like,
All right. So then 5th place.
Yeah, I think
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad. Could be worse.
do you know what the coaching documents are, Hydron?
Not a fucking clue.
It's
You
like
ever
something
seen the coaching
Kasara said.
documents?
Yeah. It's like we asked him, what the fuck are you doing, man? Because he's been salaried for like months by Toronto in the offseason for a league that's dead, right? And
Luckiest
he's
guy
like,
of all
you know,
time, by the way.
yeah, he says, I'm just putting together coaching documents. And it's like, what? What does that mean? You know? That's what he tells his boss at the performance review. Like, I've been constructing coaching documents in the offseason. Like,
A professional Japanese.
bro's playing GeoGuessr or something. Like, it's actually fucking crazy.
All right.
Nice and easy then.
Number 12.
Number
Sorted.
12. Yep. If you haven't
Alright.
seen already, we have done an exclusive Q&A on our Patreon, which literally you have to subscribe to the Patreon to see it. We tackle some topics maybe we wouldn't always discuss on the podcast. So
It's true.
subscribe, support if you want to. If you don't want to, well,
Fuck off.
it's your life. Fuck off.
Yeah, no, if you won't give us money, go fuck yourself.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Ta.
All right. Bye.
I ain't waving.